What's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon. I'm back at you another one. And this one is the Usual Suspects podcast. What if you had the ability to fix season 8? How would you fix season 8? That is what we're going to talk about this one. And I think, we had to take a break from, that serious stuff, but, even though it's not really serious, but something that we can just lean back and just relax and just shoot the shit about, you know what I mean? As always, I'm joined with my co-host, the one, the only Phil the Issues guy.
Thank you so much, Tony. And yeah, exactly. We're always a little laid back on these, but this is an even more laid back one. Not necessarily usual rules. We might not go through point by point here, but we're going to get into some of the things you would like better in season 8. What if it was good? And I also want to explore that too. What would have been the reflection of Game of Thrones if it had had a great conclusion, like a Breaking Bad type conclusion of some sort? But yeah, I'm excited to be back here for another fun What If.
No doubt. Definitely excited to be. That's why we need. So unfortunately, I don't think Bridge is going to be able to join us tonight. Mm-hmm. But that's where we need Bridge, because Bridge liked season 8. And listen, there are some people who do, and I'm not trying to say all of it was bad. There's certain things. I'm not one of those guys. These. I don't want to bring politics into it, but like one of these Democrat, Republican people. Oh, all Democrats do all bad stuff. All Republicans do bad things. People do good things. There were some things that were good about it. There were some things that were bad. And we're going to get into both of those issues. And we're going to get into it right now. What up to all my thugs, nerds, freaks, and geeks? You're now rocking with the best of Don Tony Teflon. If you can, please subscribe and click that bell so you can be notified every time we are live. Let's say what up to the people in the chat. Rock with us. We got Amy D is in the building, rocking with the Don Tony Teflon. Cindy Taylor is in the building, rocking with the Don Tony Teflon. Robert Smiley is up in this piece. Mara J. Stalkwalker is in the building. Aegon the First is in the building. Scott of Cashley Rock is rocking with us. Muhammad, my brother from another mother, is up in here. Robert Smiley in the building. Peter Griffith, I skipped. Carla Wade, all the way from Australia, is in the building rocking with us. Peter Griffith is in the building. My brother Mandrell is up in the building rocking with us. Sydney Taylor, as always, is in here rocking with us. We a Cool Gamer is in here. What up to the people up here rocking with us? We truly, truly appreciate you joining us. We got Matthew Spruce joining from Facebook. And as always, Teflon Don, my streams are live on YouTube. And if you can, it's also, if you can't get to YouTube, you can always get to Teflon TV on Facebook. We're live on Teflon TV also. So if you can't make it on YouTube, join us on Teflon TV over there. We are all up in here. Please make sure you share and like the video so we can get people up in here rocking with us right now and everything else. All right, Phil. Pizza, people are saying for you right now. A little late night snack going on there.
Got a pizza pouch, Don't leave home without it. But yes, Tony, and I think a lot of people do. I mean, there's a lot of hate that comes on to season 8, and we're not using this as another opportunity just to pile on. This is more imagining a world, imagining a situation where maybe some of the events, we're not going to completely rewrite it. Mandrell said something earlier, we'd have to completely rewrite season 7, season 8. We're not going to do that necessarily. More look at some of the events and how maybe with even a little tweaking, what we could have done to make some of these events better. Maybe some stuff we'll completely redo, but we're not going to use this as an opportunity to just, kick someone when it's down kind of thing. And I don't think I think we're going to avoid easy answers like hire a different writing team, more episodes. Those are all the obvious things. Yes, we wish there were more episodes. It could have been 20 episodes. Yes, we wish that a team that was more excited to work on it would have been better. And there's a couple of other little, the easy ones we might not necessarily. Yes, we wish the iris was turned up in the battle with the White Walkers a little bit so we could see it a little bit better. Like little things like that are obvious ones. We're going to be talking about more probably story choices and character decisions and those kind of stuff. And as always, we're going to take your comments in the live chat and also our voicemail line that I just put in there. You can call in at 781-990-8509. Give your thoughts on what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, all that kind of stuff. We're a little free form tonight. compared to some of the other stuff. So feel free to ask us different questions about different parts of season 8. But we'll go all the way through it.
Yeah, we will, and we'll definitely rock it off. And as always, so you said that about the Battle of Winterfell for the White Walkers. So let's go right into that for a bit, because that will go into the Night King also. So,
which Tony, let's be true here. Like everything for me, anyways, revolving around that. Everything else that happened in season 8, the what if scenario here that we're exploring, I think the big overarching thing is, what if they didn't screw up the thing with the Night King? Everything else that kind of sucked, you could almost, if the Night King thing had ended right, you could be like, okay, it's all right. But they bumbled the ball. What was the first scene of the first episode? And we're talking about the TV show here. What was the first scene of the first episode of the TV show? Setting up this conflict. What was the biggest fart letdown of all of season 8? That dude.
Yeah, and also it's the first scene in the books. When you read the books, the first things is the White Walkers. The White Walkers were supposed to be the ultimate threat. Like that was what the problem was supposed to be. It was supposed to deal with the White Walkers. And you solved that problem. The first battle you got into it. Like it made you think that the battle with Ramsay Bolton, right, was more critical, was more like they had more of a chance to lose the battle with Ramsay Bolton than they did with the White Walkers. And they defeated the White Walkers the first time they fought them. You would think if it was me and I was doing this and everything else, they should have had them lose a battle to the White Walkers. Now, if you want to say, they had them lose Hardhome, that's not an official army.
Yep.
Right? They got ambushed there. I'm talking they should have been able, when their defense was ready and everything, they should have still got defeated and had to flee from the White Walkers. That would have made it like, there's a problem. It seemed like that the Mountain was a bigger threat than the Night King when it came down to it. And that is one of the biggest issues I had with it, that the way they treated them, it just wasn't a threat. It wasn't a problem. Even with the dragon, it wasn't a problem. And I just did not like that.
And that you're absolutely right about that. And I mean, that is the biggest what if in this situation here. It comes down to they should have, and one of the things that absolutely would have made the season better is, yes, the pacing of it, and maybe dealing with, someone said this in the chat earlier, dealing with Cersei at the end of the last season to leave this being a bigger build up, to have the final thing that we see be the final battle. But to tell you the truth, it's exactly what you just said there. The best way to, one, make season 8 better would be have the Night King in some part of the season, the beginning part of that season, have a huge victory. We didn't see anything. We didn't focus on seeing him take the Umbers. The last time we saw him was breaking through that wall. And then the next time we basically saw the full force, they got defeated. And that's the biggest problem. They should have won that Battle of Winterfell. Most of those people should have died, and very few, Dany and Jon, and maybe Tyrion and Sansa, and like an Arya, and maybe one or two other people escaped with some plot armor. But like basically most of Winterfell should have been wiped out, and then they were forced to go south, and that would have created much more drama, much more fun, and would have shown the Night King as some sort of threat. The other thing too, Tony, and you talked about this a lot in the video that you put out that was good about like what was supposed to happen with Arya, was the final conflict between Jon and the Night King that basically we got a promo for it in the whole Hardhome thing with "come at me, bro," and we never got the fight. It was like two boxers talking smack for years, and then they never actually fight. And that's what we got. We got this whole thing, this whole lead up. Jon should have lost a fight to the Night King. Not died, but almost tried to hit him with Valyrian steel, and that shit doesn't work. Something else needs to kill this guy. Nothing works, and not like just the regular whites. And all of that, I think, is our prime suspect here in what made season 8 crap. I think is deballing the White Walker thing.
I agree. I mean, they had the whole thing with this guy in Entertainment Weekly with him holding the sword.
Dude, yeah.
And he never pulled the sword off his back, bro. Never. Like the dude never pulled the sword. Why would you have him in the promo picture? Listen, let me explain something to you, people out there, right? Like, I'm be honest with you, all right? if you cast Ron Jeremy for a movie, he's got to pull out his dick.
You got to see it.
I mean, this is what it is, right? Well, why are you casting Ron Jeremy if he's not pulling out his dick?
Not
I
for
mean,
the
there's no other
mustache.
reason to have him. It was it the hair? Was it his eyebrows? You don't do that. If you're gonna cast somebody in this role, he's got to do it. The guy who played the Night King that season is the same guy who did the dual wielding swords for Sir Arthur Dane's part in the battle he had with young Ned Stark and them. Why bring a guy who can use two swords, who's that good of a swordsman, and then not let him use the sword? This doesn't. Why did you could have casted anyone in that role,
dude?
but you particularly picked him and then didn't let him use his sword skills. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It reminds me of like when you had an action figure when you were a kid, when it wasn't like all the pieces didn't move, and you see like he has like a really cool weapon on his side, but he can't freaking move off of it. Or if there are any Smash Brothers fans out there, the fact that the character Ganondorf in the whole game carries a sword he never uses. It's just like, why have it? So it's just an ornamental sword. So it's not a real sword. It's just for show. And Kristen said that's a great point, Tony. And Sydney says, I think after Cersei was supposed to have her miscarriage, I think she was supposed to go crazy because the Maggie the Frog prophecy would have been correct and Jaime would have killed her. We'll get to the Jaime and Cersei thing too.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do
that. Definitely another big what if situation with what could have made season 8.
But I do agree that you should have killed everyone off. So, and I'm looking at the people who survived in this battle and people who should have died. Tormund is one of these guys. There's no reason for Tormund to make it. Tormund should have. If you got like, they're afraid to kill people. This is what it's about. People got to die. Tormund. I mean, you killed Ser Jorah. Okay, was it a big kill? It was. I'll give him a big kill. He's been around for a very long time, but it just can't be him.
No.
I mean, you killed the Umber chick.
The young Mormon girl and stuff like that.
Which, if y'all look at my predictions video, I predicted that she was going to be the one to kill the giant and get killed by a giant. I predicted that whole thing before it went, and I was exactly right about that.
Now, Tony, I'm convinced that they killed Brienne like 3 or 4 times and then they changed their mind. Like, if when you rewatch that scene, I swear she died more times than Glenn under the dumpster on The Walking Dead. Like, she just kept falling with whites on top of her and grabbing her and stuff. But I agree, like I said it, so of course I agree with you agreeing with me. But yes, so many of those characters should have died, and they should have wiped the slate clean and just left us with a skeleton crew getting out of there on the back of Dany's dragon. Like that's it. And you use a perfect opportunity to have all of the characters, because for the most part, even if they weren't the most perfect episodes, I do think the first 2 episodes of season 8, I wouldn't change much from a what if standpoint, in the sense of like the game we're playing. Those, especially the second episode when they were all hanging out in the night, when Jaime knights Brienne, like all that stuff. And I think when they arrive at the beginning of the season, I think for the most part, those first 2 episodes were good enough. All right, for the most part. I think it starts with 3.
Real quick, my lady love is in the building. My lady LMR, the co-host for the Lady and the Dom podcast. She's been feeling under the weather lately. Let's give a shout out to LMR. Hope you feel so much better. We miss you so much, LMR. You know what I mean? So hope that you come back and everything else like that. And in your honor that you are here right now, we will flash we will put up real quick our podcast. Because we miss you so much. And everything. All right, you know what I mean? So
someone said Sam should have died. Sam should have died. So many people should have.
Let's go. Let's look at the people who survived, and then we could just say, who we thought should. Number 1 is, without a doubt, Tormund should have died. In fact, I think just about every wildling there should have died.
Oh,
just like they killed the Dothraki.
Dothraki, yeah, just like the Dothraki.
That they got to go to. You kill them off. Right. So that being said, let's go through main characters who was there and survived. We had Tyrion that was there.
Okay, I do want to bring it up because it's a funny clip where Tyrion's the one that mentions we were all hanging out in the crypts when he's bringing people back to life. So I would have loved to see them be down in that crypts and everyone comes in this What If. I want all of them to die with the Night King animating the Stark corpses. That was one of those things that I thought was going to happen that didn't actually happen. But
no one died down there, right? No one died in the crypts. I mean, they didn't kill any. You got to kill these people. You got them down there. Put people down there like Tyrion. All right, maybe he could have lived. Maybe Jaime could have lived. Jaime should have died, but maybe he could have lived. That would have been good. Grey Worm could have died. I like it that he lived, but Grey Worm could have died. You have to kill. You got to be willing to kill, and not the secondary characters. Some of these main characters had to fall. That means Brienne, Jaime, Tyrion, Sansa, Arya. And some of these people, someone should have felt. Gendry.
I want Clegane Bowl.
Everyone made it.
The Hound should have died too.
The Hound. Someone's got to die. You got to kill these main characters. And this is what made the show successful in the beginning, that you weren't afraid to kill the characters.
Theon died at the end. Theon died at the end there too.
Fuck Theon. Goddamn. That wasn't good enough for me. Not good enough.
I will stop you. I am a Greyjoy. I've been famous for my skill with spears, running at people. That's my what I've always.
Emily Christina says Tyrion had ESP. I think we all might live. I guess maybe he had something.
He had the script. He read the script.
Okay, what does that do? Oh, that's what that does. It's a new feature. It's a new feature. I didn't realize that you can do and stuff on the thing. So,
but yeah, I hated that Podrick a few people said Podrick in there. We needed to have more emotional hurt. So who died? Who actually died? We had Jorah die and Theon. Were they the only two?
Yeah.
Were they the only two that we know of, other than the Dothraki
and Theon
red shirts?
Bran didn't die. No one else. Bran can't even move, and he didn't.
What did Bran do? What the fuck did Bran do?
Thank you for the super chat. English says no one was seriously hurt. No, there was no injuries. No one limped out that motherfucker.
No, Jaime was feeling.
They were celebrating, dancing the jig, drinking beers.
Tony, Jaime didn't die with one hand. He's fighting with his left hand, and he didn't die.
He had bigger problems in Dorne than he had with that battle.
The Dornish kicked his ass. Bronn is a better fighter than the entire army of whites, apparently.
Yeah, it was ridiculous to me.
So I think unfortunately, as bloodthirsty as we've talked about it this way before on these, to think like George here, the best thing we can do is our first big what if change to how we could make season 8 better from our standpoint is they lose this fight at Winterfell and a lot of people fucking die. I mean, it's that simple. Like a lot of characters need to die and 4 or 5 survive. Pick 4, Jon, Dany, and pick a few more. And Bran has to survive too.
So way I think it should end, in all honesty, like it should have went back. They should have had them do that. They should have had them retreat to the Vale. And then in the Vale, somehow, because they're there, then they figure out a way to do it. Or they retreat to the Vale and then get stuck in between Cersei. They head down towards King's Landing. Cersei refuses to open the gate. And then they're stuck between Cersei and the White Walkers. Then you have a battle down there like that. And then maybe then you have a reason to listen. Everyone's talking about Jaime wants to strangle Cersei. I'm going to give you, listen, I should make a video on this. Maybe I will make a video on this. So if you hear anyone make a video on this, you know they're listening to me and they're stealing my idea. So this is what should have happened, all right? I'm going to tell you right now. They should have been defeated at that battle, flee to the Vale, and then flee all the way down to King's Landing. Cersei doesn't open the gate.
No, they knock the door. Cersei's like,
go. Here come the White Walkers. So Jaime sneaks in by himself and strangles Cersei to death because they won't open the gates. He opens the door for everybody. They get in, and then they defeat the White King. And then you have the Maggie the Frog prophecy fulfilled. Cersei dies, and it's a reason for Jaime to have to kill her because everyone was going to die, and she was only looking out for herself. That is how it should have went. The Don Tony Teflon is telling you. Listen, HBO. Listen right now. HBO.
Animated series of this now. Do it, HBO.
Hire me, HBO. Listen, you want to make shit right? I know how to do shit. I'm good at this shit, man. Trust me. You know, let's highlight Jackie C for me right there, Phil. Can you do that for me?
Of
And then
course.
Flashy Brown right there. Well, I like these people. They understand what it is. I know how to do this shit. I'll make that shit
We'll go back
successful.
and forth between those two comments only. We'll keep this one up now.
You know, that's how I think it should have went. You know
No,
what I mean?
I think that creates some of the best drama too, because then if you have them lose this big battle, and then you have the remainder of the season leading up to that big climactic conclusion, it's almost a chase game where they're trying to travel up through, and even if you speed it up with the sped up timeline, you could still sort of yada yada it and have them kind of going through all these places, heading up towards King's Landing, trying to beat them up there. And then Cersei's army is waiting there, knock, knock, can't get in. And then it's a sandwich situation. And then Cersei needs to make a decision too, because and she's like, let them kill them, and then we'll deal with the winners here. Mm-hmm. And Jaime sneaks in with Tyrion's help, because I do think Tyrion probably survives in our situation here. He's one of the few people that survives. I think in this scenario in my head, Sansa, Jon, Tyrion, and Dany survive. Everyone else dies. And Tyrion helps Jaime sneak in because he knows through tunnels and shit. And yeah, I think he kills Cersei and Qyburn and opens the gates and lets them in. And there we go.
There you go. Tanya says, why would they attack Winterfell if it is literally Winterfell? The Whites should not have attacked Winterfell. They should have gone straight down to the Riverlands. So I agree with you saying, sort of. So I think that it's Winterfell. That means they should have fell at Winterfell. I understand what you're saying. This is the place that winter fell and everything else, and winter was stopped, and maybe that's what they were going for. I just think that this is a castle that's never been taken, right? When you have a wall that's never been compromised, it gets compromised. You have a castle that's truly never been sacked. I mean, if you want to count Theon as sacking it, you can. It's not really a good one.
That was the dumbest sacking of all.
Yeah, it was one that, and I'm gonna shout out to Red Lipstick Club and our senior girl. 100% love. Muy bueno. That means love you, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I feel like we're in an episode of Arrested Development now. Yeah, who is this Hermano? We're gonna find out who this Hermano is and stop him.
But I think they should have been able to do that and then tunnel and walk through the crypts. Everyone would have retreated to the crypts. They would have hidden the crypts, barricaded the door for the Night King, and then they would have had to fight their way out through all the dead Starks. He would have to kill all the dead Starks and did everything else like that and all that. Go through them all, chop them all down, and get out of there and everything. Oh, Brandon means very good. I guess it was
we were both wrong. Mia More or something like that. The real YT says HBO will remake Game of Thrones.
Yeah, my Spanish.
Hey, I agreed with you, Tony. I don't know. Who's the bigger fool? The fool that says it or the fool that agrees with them? I'm like, yeah, that's what it means. Sure.
Yeah, great. It sounded good, right?
Yeah, it sounded perfect. Real YT says HBO will remake Game of Thrones 5 to 10 years after the bad taste of the original goes to series. I think if George finishes the books, I could see them doing an animated thing. And I have to give a few different people have said this at different times, and I could see them do something. I doubt a full live action remake. A lot of it will depend on the success of House of the Dragon from just a commercial standpoint in the future Game of Thrones series. But if it continues to be a very profitable franchise, I could see them doing a version of the main series, and I could see storybook or animated to a certain extent based on the way it actually finishes once the two novels come out.
Yeah, have some Spanish that come to me and say, "Mi amor," and I'm like, "Yeah, muy bueno."
Muy bueno.
All right. So we have tackled. We have tackled the White Walkers.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think ultimately that's the best way. I guess the other part of it, before we get into some of the other things that happened in season 8, because I think the big thing too with the White Walkers and with everything, if we're still working within 6 episodes, because I think the obvious thing is we need more episodes, but do you plan the season out differently, Tony? Do you have the White Walkers be the final conflict? instead of, or maybe still they do a Daenerys heel turn of some sort. But do you hold the White Walker conflict to the final episode or the second to last episode in some ways?
So that's what they would. So if the writers were on here, I would think they would say, well, listen, we planned on doing the Daenerys heel turn, so we couldn't have them do that with Cersei because of that. So if you wanted to do a Daenerys heel turn, right? Number one, you should have set it up way before the
Way
season,
better, way better.
right? But let's say you did, right? So the Don Tony Teflon's in the right room. They're coming to me, Dan, and they're like, listen, we want to make Daenerys a bad guy. How do we do? How do
We
we
want to make her Ric Flair, the first of all
want
time.
to return. So you would have them defeat the White Walkers, and then you would basically have it on her jealousy of Jon and everyone wanting Jon to turn. Then she really becomes the heel. Because if you just say, listen, they defeat the White Walkers, they do all that, they take out Cersei, now Daenerys is sitting the Iron Throne, but everyone is cheering. They want Jon to sit the Iron Throne. They want Jon to sit the Iron Throne. They don't want you. They want Jon. And then she gets jealous. And then she becomes mad because they want Jon. And now she turns. Oh, you want Jon? You want Jon? Fuck you. You're going to take this fire. And now she's a real heel. Now that it's hard to make anything work because it was not set up.
And the problem you have with that situation, even if we say, okay, I'll accept that what she did in Essos a few times, burning people with I don't have the sound clip up, sorry people, but the dick on, like what happened to dick on in all those situations were enough, which I don't think it was either, but let's pretend it was. I think the problem that we get into here, and even though I said 3 times already, so I'm gonna contradict my ass. It's so hard to do this with just one more episode. Okay, so if we're gonna say we're gonna hold off the ending of the White Walker conflict to the second to last episode, and it should be pushed off to the season, as Jackie C was saying earlier, that should have been the final conflict and that kind of stuff. It doesn't. They still need a whole season, to your point about setting it up, to properly set up that kind of turn by Daenerys. If they were going to go the way that they did with her burning children and crap like that. I'm not talking about burning a lot of shit that she hates, like burning the Lannister army. I'm talking about going full, like Hollywood, like going full heel turn, like spitting on children and stuff when you were America's sweetheart, like that kind of thing. When you're going that big of a heel turn, you needed to set that up over at least 2 or 3 episodes of like deep build, maybe even a whole season. I think the only way you could have done it is if you have everything and you do 6 episodes, but you have that 6th episode like be a 2.5 hour movie. You have this is where I'm cheating with the time thing. You can have the other 5 episodes be the same length that they were, but that final episode, or take that end part where they do the yada yada with the Tyrion speech, cut all of that and use some of that to actually build Dany. Dany turns heel, and then the next episode she dies in the first 5 minutes of the episode. It's like they needed more time for it to bake in, and that's the biggest problem with the Dany heel turn. Exactly what you said. It wasn't earned.
All right, so I'm gonna answer both of these questions real quick. So Jackie, she first said, why would they want Jon? Well, they wanted Jon in Winterfell. They did that in Winterfell. Oh, who jumps on the back of a dragon? But a king. A king wants, you could just have it come out that he is Rhaegar's son, and people are getting behind him and rallying to throw her off the thing. So you do that. That's why they want Jon. That's why she gets jealous. That's why she starts, oh, you want Jon? Burn you. Varys, you want Jon? I'll burn you. Tyrion, you want Jon? I'll burn you. And then you can see her like going crazy and everything else like that. You know what I mean? So that would be that. Why so curious? I still want to know what the symbols mean. Well, darling, I have made videos. I have a playlist that's called the symbols and what the symbols mean. And go watch my video because I base all that on book stuff and everything else. So definitely go watch that real quick and you will see that, darling. We have a celebrity in the building. And yes, we have a celebrity in
we do.
Red Lipstick Club, but we have another celebrity in the building rocking with us, the one, the only hula hoop expert. Someone that, I don't say this, maybe you think I don't say this about a lot of people, especially in this business, especially that I met, but someone that I truly consider one of my personal friends in this, and that is Smoker Hannes is in the building. And I'm so happy to see you.
Look at that
You
smile
know,
on the face.
I'm so happy to see you. I miss you. I love you, Smoke. I miss you, and you know what I mean. And hopefully we get to have some type of stuff. We get to y'all don't go crazy when I say some type of stuff. You know, like stuff like hanging out and chilling, because that's how we do. That's my girl right there. You know what I mean, and all that. So miss you, Smoke, and everything. And thank you for coming in here and rocking with us. Truly appreciate it. So I appreciate everybody for in here rocking with us. I know that a lot of people don't be rocking with us or whatever, but it is what it is. The people who do, we truly appreciate y'all, you know what I mean, and everything else. So show that love and definitely hit that thumbs up button so we can get more people over here. And then we have another a person, superstar up in the building rocking with us from the Boogie Woogie, you know what I mean, from the Boogie Down, you know what I mean. And I hate to say it, that her man from the Boogie Down may have beaten my favorite rapper of all time, Big Daddy Kane. Mara Chase in the building, rock with us. What up? 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 Got much.
But that was a fun night. That was a fun battle. Whoever won that was a fun.
It battle. Was. I'm going with Big Daddy Kane, but anyone who says that KRS won, I can't tell you he did. I can't tell you.
He just knows how to interact with the crowd. So like
I just can't tell you he did. Big Daddy Kane just didn't pick the right playlist. If I would, he should have let me pick his songs. The songs he should have did, and he didn't do them in the right order. And if you let me,
you give a crowd to Chris, it's over. Like he has so much.
He has so. Its whole thing is this.
If your name isn't Supernatural, KRS One is going to be.
We'll get back to this, but I'll say this real quick about it. Big Daddy Kane only really has 2 hit albums. Boogie Down Productions has been in the game for so long. They have like 10 albums. So he has such a vast catalog. It's just hard to beat that. And Big Daddy Kane should have realized that. And that should have been it, and planned accordingly and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Maybe if Cool G Rap showed up in the what's the name of the song?
So G Rap. So people don't understand. G Rap had a stroke a few years back.
Oh, he did. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he's not exactly the same. So that's one of the reasons why I don't think he would. I mean, I've seen him after that, and I've seen him in concert, and I hung out with G-Rap. I hung out with all of them. Like, I'm cool with, like I said, Cool G-Rap lived around my way when he made money. So I'm cool with these dudes, and I hung out with these dudes, but he had a stroke and stuff like that. That's why he's not around everything else.
Good health to him. Good health.
I love King Kane is like my idol. Like, I have cuts in my eyebrow to this day because I love Big Daddy Kane. That's bottom line. That's who I am. All right, so back to Game of Thrones.
Yes, back to Game of Thrones. We could talk about this all night, but it's she will say you know nothing. In my rewrite, Ygritte comes back as a white and kills Jon right before she can stab Dany, saying she's my queen. But that's an interesting
one. So you can't. So this is the whole thing, Robert. I appreciate that, but the whole thing, you know what I mean, is that they burnt her. Like they put her behind the wall and they burnt her. So the fact that she couldn't come back, that's the reason why they burnt her body.
That does lead me to like what I think was another thing we should have had. Because if you have all those people die at Winterfell, you can have an opportunity to see Jorah as a white. I feel like they wasted that opportunity a lot on Game of Thrones in the sense of seeing characters we know on the other side. And there were times where you could have done that. And that was an example. If you have the Battle of Winterfell happen and you see a lot of the people that we know and care about all be taken down, you can see them come at them at a later time in the battle. You can see them trying to kill, people that we know. We can see Theon trying to kill Jon, a white version of Theon, a white version of Tormund. Like all those kind of visuals for characters that we've cared about to even make the Night King seem even more imposing. We never saw the White Hodor or something like that, which
should have been a White Hodor.
Why didn't we ever see a White Hodor?
You shouldn't have seen a White Hodor. You should have definitely seen that. You know what I said with that.
And what was that line before that we were just about? Okay, Tony and Phil, do you just jump in the hot tub time machine, go find George R. Martin's intended ending of the 2 final books and come back and write the final season correctly? I think there is an aspect of that, but I also, as hearsay as this is going to sound, I think if you were going to really say, let Dan and Dave finish this series just from story points that George has, there was a little bit of that in this final season too. I think in some points, if they were going to go away from George's notes at different times, like they chose to start doing in season 4, going away from his notes, then change the freaking ending altogether. I mean, they chose it anyways with Arya. Why not just why in certain cases, like with Danny, did you have to stare that into maybe what George's endpoint is, but he's going to build it over a long period of time, or Bran King over a long period of time? The things that they chose to do on their own, like, oh, we need to have Wolverine Arya jump and kill the Night King because we need something for Arya to do, because we can't have her die last season where it would have made sense. Would she would have died from her wounds from the waif, or would have been something else? She would have died killing the, for whatever, however they would have killed her in a more interesting way. I think there's so many different ways they could have taken. So if Dan and Dave were going to finish the series, I would have just rather them finish it their own way completely and have it be completely fan fiction. So because there's some parts of the final season that they had to squeeze everything tightly into it. If they knew they wanted to end it in 13 episodes, then write their own stupid ending. Stay away from George's stuff and keep George's stuff as a secret to us, so we don't have to know some of the secrets of the book series.
Gary B says Bran will never return from the Beyond the Wall. He will never sit the Iron Throne. So I think that that's interesting. It's hard for me to see how he returns from the back there. But yeah, Stark will sit the Iron Throne. It happens basically in House of the Dragon. We have the Stark sits the Iron Throne. So I'm not going to get into that. But in House of the Dragon, he basically sat the Iron Throne. He was king of the realm when he was there. And we'll now, if they go into that in House of the Dragon, I don't know if they'll go that far into it and everything else. But he basically he was the king of the 7 kingdoms at the time that he was there.
And I hate to do this thingy, but I believe, if I remember correctly, from when the episodes aired, when they did those behind the scene episode stuff right around the series ended, the Bran is king thing, wasn't that something from George? Didn't the actor that played Bran come out and say he heard that from George?
Yes. Yeah. So my theory.
Well, I don't know.
I'm not going to go into the theories thing, but y'all know my theory. If y'all don't know, I'll tell you. If you ever heard anybody say this, then you know they stole it from me. You go check the date. But my theory from the beginning was that Bran is not Bran. Bran was killed in there. He was overtaken by the last Greenseer. Bloodraven was killed by the last Greenseer. So that's not really is a plan from the Children of the Forest to begin with, and that's the Children of the Forest, the last Greenseer, sitting in Bran's body on the Iron Throne when it's all said and done. And he's just a body snatcher, jumping from body to body from per people who has the power he has, so he doesn't have to give up his power. And that is the reason why he chose. It takes him a while to choose people and stuff.
I like
so,
they're like
that is what it is. I made that theory up. You can check it out. And if you ever heard anyone say that, they stole it from me. There's no doubt. I made that shit up like 7 years ago.
Interesting answer. Jackie says, but we don't know what Bran would be king of. Night King, King of Winterfell, and so on. Like, maybe he's not king sitting on the throne king. Maybe he's a different kind of king. It could be wordplay of some sort. Actors and writers and directors are liars by nature. So whenever they tell us the answers, it's like, no, I was just going to get into spoil. It's like when people say they're not in some movie and then you see pictures of them in said movie. It just happens sometimes, and the actors are freaking liars.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you got to understand that too, that the actors do lie. Don't think that everyone's coming out there telling you.
Yeah, it's Kit Harington. I'm not coming back. She's my queen. I'm not coming back.
I can show you. And also, like when I put that video up when that said, oh, Arya was supposed to die the season 7, and people are like, oh, how would this guy know? How would this guy? People change their mind midway. You know what I mean? That's the way it goes. I could show you a clip of Dan and Dave saying, I had a video. I don't know exactly what video it was, that Kit Harington was supposed to walk into Ghost. Yep. They were going to do it. And then they decided not to do it for whatever reason, but they were going to do it.
I mean,
and that's just the bottom line. They had I could show you the video where they say it. With Kit Harington, the actor, he says, well, I'd like to be inside of a wolf. And the crowd laughs. And then you can hear Dan and Dave say, "Wait till season 6."
Yeah, we're planning on doing that.
Yeah, wait till season 6. You can hear them mumble that right underneath their breath. So they had the plan to do that. but they didn't do it for whatever reasons. They didn't do it, so they always plan things out and everything else. You know what I mean? That's just the way it goes. They planned on doing that, but when John died, they didn't do it. They didn't put him in it. People changed their mind. That's
Yep.
just what it
I
is.
mean,
You know what I
people
mean?
do that
So,
all the time with television shows. I mean, a lot of people know this one, but when they made Breaking Bad in the first season, slight spoiler for Breaking Bad, I guess, they planned on killing Jesse Pinkman. Like the whole first draft of the first season of Breaking Bad had them killing Jesse, and Vince Gilligan saw how much chemistry Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston had on screen, changed the story on the spot, decided to move forward with that series with the character of Jesse being alive. And the series was the better because of it. And I think sometimes in series and movies and TV shows and books and everything, show creators that are good creators have ideas and it's always evolving until you get the best thing. And then sometimes, like when you're a songwriter and you're making songs, Tony can attest to this too, you record something, it's never exactly the way you want it, but at some point you just have to give it up, or you're making Chinese Democracy, the Axl Rose album, the Guns N' Roses album that took 25 years to make because he kept re-recording it. Shaq was on it at one point in time, and then he go take it off. Like so many people were on that album recording parts, and then he takes it and disappears. Or you're George Lucas, changing the color of a bush on a reissue of something, but that kind of organic changes always makes sense. It's like when you look at the first drafts of the Game of Thrones that George wrote that came out a few years ago, and we can think about that towards this what if too. What if that in a future one? What if that had been the actual story? Where I think it's the one where Arya and Jon get married. Isn't that something like that happens in that?
yeah, it was supposed to be Arya and John was supposed to get married in his first. And I'll say this: look, as a writer myself, I'm not saying I'm the best writer, but I am a writer, and I have published books out there.
You are a successful writer.
Well, thank you very much. I will say this: that when my biggest problem when I write stuff is this is what I do. I'll write stuff, and this is what's holding up my novel right now. Is I'll write a chapter, I'll write 3 or 4 chapters, and then before I go and continue, I reread those chapters. And then when I'm rereading them, I start rewriting them. And then I wind up just keep rewriting those chapters and never moving forward.
Yep.
So I'm sure I'm not the first person in the world who's ever done that. I'm sure that's what happens to a lot of people, that when you start rereading, you start rewriting, and that's just where it goes and everything else. All right.
I love this. I love the love triangle between Arya and Jon. One of the things I like in that first draft too is a fight between Joffrey and Joffrey and Robb or something, like a one-on-one fight or of some sort, or maybe it was Jon. I forget.
Yeah, because they already fought Joffrey and he got his ass kicked by Robb back in the day. Robb beat his ass. All right. So let's go through. Let me highlight this real quick. Let me just put this up here. Has anyone read Smokescreen's novel Crimson Gods? If you have not supported Smokescreen's a cool guy cat. It's one of my people, on this platform and stuff like that. He does have a novel out called Crimson Gods. Please support the cause, support the YouTubers, and go out there and pick up that novel for Smokescreen.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And show that man some love and stuff like that. And if you do, tell him Don Tony Teflon sent you. And I'm going to do a giveaway too, but I want you to buy it first, and then I'll do the giveaway.
Yeah, do the giveaway in like a year or so, or something like that.
I want him to sell. Then I'll do a giveaway.
Don't mess with the sales.
Listen, y'all should know. Listen, I support the Quinn's books. I support anyone who's down. I support people, man. That's who I am. Anyone trying to tell you anything different about me, man, straight up, I'm here. That's the bottom line. Anyone tell you anything different about me, lying about me, tell them to say it in my face. Because the bottom line is I support everybody, any endeavor that anyone's ever came out with on this platform that's been doing what we're doing. They know, you can see that Don has always been here to support them. Even if I don't talk to him, I'll always try to push people forward because that's the way I go. All right, so let's go. Since we have talked about Cersei and Jaime and we delved toward that, and let's go into Cersei and Jaime's ending and how it ended and how it could have ended better. For now, if you heard my scenario I came up with, how do you think that it should have ended with?
I like that, but I do think if you have Jaime leave and go to Brienne and have that whole thing and do all of that,
and Brienne crying,
and then you have him leave again.
The first time in my life. And he just walked out like Jaime, because this is what it is. He gonna fuck Brienne, And this is the problem. And I'm gonna tell you, this is what
It
it
was
is.
so cold, dude.
Cersei's a freak by nature. There's no way some big bitch, and I'm sorry to say that, but I'm saying it because I'm
These are
joking.
characters. These aren't humans.
Yes, there ain't no way no big bitch who's never had sex in her life is gonna outperform the only chick he had sex with, Cersei. It's Cersei, get it on. She that freak. You know what I mean? She read the book. She that freak. She
And
about
she's
that life.
practicing a lot more than Jamie knows.
Yes,
Too.
you know what I mean. She's wearing Jamie out. There's no way that he's some chick who don't know nothing.
But Tony,
you know what I mean? Who don't know nothing. So he put her big legs on his shoulders.
He didn't go back to have sex with Cersei. He went back to die. My whole point is, if he was going to actually leave her and go to Brienne after all of that shit, finally cut off, because we all know, as they put in How I Met Your Mother, the crazy, and it works with guys too, the crazy hot scale. You have to get the right balance. He realized that swayed a little bit, and Cersei got a little too crazy and a little less hot for him. He had to get the hell out of there. He was in his situation. He was gone, and then he decided to go back. I feel like that didn't make a lot of sense. If he went back to be with her, that's one thing. He went back to go die with her. That was his whole thing. I need to go die with her. That was stupid.
There's no doubt about it. You know,
but I agree with what you're saying in the sense that Brienne was never going to fully, in that sense, as long as Cersei's alive, Jaime's always going to want her. And he's always going to like remember that. And she could always probably seduce him if she's given the opportunity. If someone gets you like that and you have a falling out in the sense of like, I'm just done, I got to be done, but you still kind of want it. If they corner you in the right situation, at least for me, I'm weak. I don't do good in situations like that. I'd fall for Cersei. I'm dumb like Jaime like that.
There is definitely a thing. And I'm as a man, I'm gonna tell y'all ladies, I'm not lying about this. It's like y'all,
exactly.
Ladies, it's like y'all ladies can say. Y'all ladies will say, listen, there's a thing called, good dick. That not all dicks are created equal, and it's the same thing
by their creator.
Same thing with vaginas. Not all vaginas are created equal. Some of them things you put your thing in and it melts, and some of them things you can go 15 hours. 25 hours, whatever you want a night. That is just what it is. And the bottom line is Cersei's got that. She's got that wop. You know what I mean? And Brienne was in the cold. And, she had icicles up on that bitch. And it's not her fault because she's a newcomer. You know what I mean? You can't expect a virgin to compete with a seasoned vet. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. If you're a private in the army, right? And you just got here.
You can't be going into special forces.
Some guy with some 5-star general. You can't compete with that. There's just no way around that motherfucker. I'm just saying that's just the way I see it. So, Jamie was just, there's no way she could compete with that motherfucker. And that's just what it is. I ain't trying to be mean. Don't hate on me. I'm just telling you the truth. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's it. So I don't blame Bree. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the way that the game go, man.
It's all in the game. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you say? It's all in the game.
In the game. In the game, baby. It's in the game. So talking about on a serious note, talking about the
oh no, this is serious. This is serious. Don't undervalue this, but this is part of it though. But in fairness, it is kind of partially serious though, in the sense of what drove Jamie. And Smokahanta set it up a few seconds ago. All that being said, I feel like Jamie humping and dumping Brienne messed up his redemption arc. Yes.
There was no redemption for this.
Oh, come on.
Listen, there's no redemption.
Tony, get on the train. Get on the Jamie redemption.
No, Bridge ain't here. I'm going to talk that shit because Bridge ain't here. All right, listen, there's no redemption.
It's comfy up here, Tony.
I made up a whole skit about it in one of my videos. I forgot. I forgot it. You know what I mean? But what I exactly said. But there's no redemption for some, sister fucking, you know what I mean? Little kid window pushing Bran out the window.
He gave Bran power,
crushing his cousin's head with a rock.
He gave Bran a gift. Oh, his cousin was he blessed his cousin. It's like Raul Julia says, this was the day that Bison blessed your village. He blessed his cousin with the kiss of the rock. That cousin's gonna go to the Lannister. No, I can't even do this. But he did unlock Bran's powers by pushing him. He helped Bran.
Actually, Carl, away. I agree that Tormund did deserve the rock back. Tormund really liked him.
That's a good what if. Tormund should have gotten Bran. You should instead of Jaime if Jaime.
That doesn't happen in real life. You like the guy who really likes you, who really you usually don't want that. Brienne's a pretty boy liker. If you look at the men that she liked Renly. She wanted to be with Renly, and then she wanted to be with Jaime. She likes those pretty boys. She didn't like them roughneck cats, you know what I mean? In roughneck knuckles. She didn't like those dudes like that. She liked those pretty boys. She was a pretty boy girl. And that's just that's just the way it went. You know what I mean? That's just where it goes.
Tormund becomes the Lord of the Tarth. He loved her Brienne. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I do think maybe Tormund, but you're right, Tony. The nice guy very rarely gets the girl in that situation. The asshole, like Tormund was sitting there trying to flirt with her in public and do like the sensible thing. Jaime's like, come with me in private. Jaime did like the at the party move where he's like, you're coming with me now, and we're gonna go have a private drink. Oh no, it became all me. Gave Bran a gift. Nah, bro. Bran didn't have to lose those legs. Bran could have lost an eye like Bloodraven and Euron, unlocked his powers. We didn't need to attempt a child's life. He taught him to fly, AK. He taught him to fly. He was like putting to birth Robert Aaron's dream. He helped the little man fly. I hear what you're saying. Yes, I'm just being a Jaime apologist and saying, in a sense, that needed to happen to help Bran unlock his powers, but I guess he could have suffered some other fate that wasn't as permanent as losing his legs. But I think in the sense you could argue that Jaime did that out of honor for his family. His just sense of where his honor is wrapped around is a bit warped, and I think it's more about the sense of justice that he has. And at this point, his equilibrium is so fucked up because he did what he thought was such an honorable thing, stabbing the king that wanted to burn everybody in the back, that everyone looks so down at him. So he might as well fuck his sister and say, screw the world. So I do think there's a good person underneath there somewhere. Where I guess I agree. I'm in between with Tony and Bridge on this one.
I will say this. This is one thing that George R. R. Martin said. All right. And I'm not going to.
I know, AK. I'm just fighting the good fight.
Don't blame me on this. He's the one who said it. He said, hey, there's not, everybody's shades of gray. Hitler loved dogs.
Right? He loved puppy dogs, and he was very.
People are shades of gray, but you look at, and he was on Time Magazine, right? Man of the Year at one point, Hitler, right?
Yeah, so great guy.
So if you want to look at it that way, then yeah, Jaime's not that bad.
Yeah, Joffrey has really pretty hair. That kid was really nice. What he did to, he has a sense of art deco. He really brought back the history of the Targaryen family by bringing in all those skulls and shit.
Exactly. He did everything. So we'll go. All right. So talking strictly about that. So let me tell you the stupidness of the ending of Jaime and Cersei so that we can explain why it shouldn't have been this way. So Jaime and Cersei run away to escape. When they run away to escape, they stand in a room. The room is collapsing all above them, right? So then all of a sudden Jaime looks Cersei in the eyes. He grabs her face in both hands and said, look at me. We're the only things that matter. The rocks come down and hit them. But later we see Tyrion come in the same room and dig them out. So therefore, if they would have just walked to the left a little bit,
yeah,
nothing would have happened to them. There wasn't one rock over there. There was nothing. There was nothing there. They stood and said, we're going to stand here and let these rocks hit us in the head. Oh, listen, that works for Wile E. Coyote, right? I've seen him, Wile E. Coyote, get hit with boulders and stand up. Maybe they watched Wile E. Coyote and said, hey.
We could do it.
Hey. It worked for Wile E.
I have my Acme gold hand that will be able to hold up some of the
it's going to work for us. So this is why the ending was so stupid.
Yes.
And that is so that is why it should not have worked.
And the fact that Tyrion, so other people have pointed this out too, the fact that Tyrion could even come back and like find them so easily. He's just like, oh, boots and blocks. Oh, there they are. And you're right. I guess it went from certain death to that they were just really a little unlucky. Another 5 minutes and they would have made it. If Euron had just been killed a little quicker in that fight with Jaime, then, you know.
She needed to die at the hand of Jaime. She needed to die at hand. Jaime, I'd say that's why I think that, she's backing off. This is how you do it. She's backing out. She won't let people in because of the White Walkers. They pulled this shit before. Sneak, with Tyrion. Do it with Jaime. Jaime sneaks in there. He gets in there. He tells her what to do. And you can even make it bad. Like he sees that, and I know that they did this. They were supposed to have her miscarry. And they had her in a bed of blood. And they changed that and everything else. Let her be pregnant and let her admit that to Jaime, that she's pregnant with Euron's baby. And then Jaime just, between both things, strangles her to death. He's mad about her being pregnant and he's mad that they won't let everybody in. He kills her. I think that's the way. Now, the actress, Lita Headey, says she wished she went out with a sword in her hand. She wanted to fight before she died.
It just seems like a really odd choice considering the big buildup between their relationship and everything that they build up between the characters, even the lead up of having Jaime go back and fight Euron to get in there. Excuse me, just to have them crushed in the rocks like that, trying to escape through the Tyrion escape route. It seemed like, I think everything you just illustrated there would have been much more intense and much more emotional and better character moments for both characters, in the sense of Cersei admitting that in our last moments here, it doesn't matter anymore. It's not your baby, it's Euron's baby. And I've also blah, blah, blah. And then have maybe her turn, she senses that Jaime's coming after her, and then they actually have some sort of fight or, where Jaime comes after and she defends herself. Like she said, she wanted to defend herself. She comes at Jaime. We have the two of them. And then Jaime ends up on top of her screen.
And you could have had her when she came at Jaime, stab Jaime,
cut his neck, and then have him choke her on the way out.
You could have stabbed him in the heart where he was eventually going to die. And then he winds up choking her to death at the same time. Yeah. And then she dies and they both die at the same time.
Very Shakespearean, very Hamlet-y kind of Shakespearean.
He killed her. They both killed each other. They came out in this world together. They left the world together. That is a much better ending for those characters. That's what I would rather have seen. Not no Euron Greyjoy fight. I'm going to get to Euron next because he's in there. So let's do Euron right after this and everything else. But
okay, Euron dies on a Euron gets hit. Euron dies when Dany firebombs him when he should have died. Not somehow he makes it out of the ocean and swims to shore and fights Jaime. I mean, we can get into more, and I'm sure you'll go into a fun Euron thing in a second. But for me, it's just that simple. Even if you want to accept, and we're trying to find the most simple cure to these things, like you just set up a situation with Jaime and Cersei that's basically the same lead up. He leaves Brienne, he sets up down, he faces her in the same way. They just have a little bit of dialogue that changes the whole scene altogether. With Euron, just when Dany does the whole sun trick and she flies down and blows up the ships, he dies there. Why do you have to have him swim in and then get into a fight with Jaime? Like, why can't that just be the end of that Euron? He doesn't have any other significance. Kill him in a friggin' fire explosion. Done.
Exactly. Now, Angie says with one hand, I guess she's talking about how Jaime could have choked her with one hand. You could use a forearm.
Yeah, the forearm.
He could have put the forearm right on her throat and just kneeled on her with the forearm, and that could have choked her to death. He didn't actually had to use his hands. He could have just actually put the forearm on her. And not that I'm a master of choking people. Right? How do you know that, Tony Teflon?
Don't check. Don't check Tony's basement. Yeah, whatever you do, don't look in Tony's basement.
So I think that is how it should have ended for them. And it would have been a better ending for them. We'll continue with Tyrion, who is someone now. I understand that they don't want to. Kill all of House Lannister.
How about you just start by not making Tyrion stupid because you can't think of anything else to do with him? How about you just keep Tyrion consistent to the character he's already been and not make everything he does freaking failure and stupid decision, because that wasn't Tyrion. Tyrion is actually culpable. We get to a point where Tywin even gives him respect for warfare and tactics to a certain extent. Not everything Tyrion should have done should have just immediately been a failure. They completely lost track of who he was as a character. And I think more than almost any character in the entire series, he was the one most suffered by not having George's material, because of how much Tyrion is. And I know George likes to say, I don't have any favorite characters, but Tyrion's my favorite character. You know, like there's an earnestness to that portray to the voice of Tyrion that is completely lost the minute they stop getting material for him. So I would say, for starters with Tyrion, not making him stupid, because you can't think of any. It's the Peter Petrelli-ness of it all. And I've talked about this before. It's on Heroes. You make Peter Petrelli too powerful because he can suck anyone's powers. He has all the powers. So what do we have to do? We have to nerf him and take away all of his powers, because we can't think about how to write his character anymore. Like sometimes Tyrion was too smart, too tactical, too whatever. And they're like, we can't figure out a way to keep this up, so let's just write him stupid.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think that they didn't know how to use him. They wanted to keep him because he's Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, because
they dumbed him down from someone who's supposed to be one of the smartest characters in the game, someone who's supposed to know how to play the Game of Thrones more than anybody. They truly dumbed the character down and made him one of the worst characters in the end when it comes down to it. The bottom line is, you know, if you're going to have Daenerys do that heel turn that they did and everything else, there's no way he should have been able to survive that. There's no way that he should have been able to convince Jon Snow to kill Daenerys. This is a guy who was on death row. He was about to be executed by Daenerys. So obviously he's going to be pro kill Daenerys, because she's going to kill me. So to make Jon that stupid, like, oh, Tyrion has one talk with Tyrion. Oh, I decided I have to kill her now.
Well, she's my queen.
You know, I have to kill her now because, oh, she's going to kill her. Like, he is the guy who's able to figure that out and stuff like that. Like, that, it just doesn't make any sense. It's not like he has this huge relationship with Tyrion where he trusted him with everything he does and does all the things. He has nothing there. You know what I mean? But now all of a sudden, he goes and visits him, locked up. And he realizes, hey, you're locked up. You're about to die. Before I die, kill her so she doesn't kill me. Blah, blah, blah. Why would you do that? So it just doesn't make sense. It didn't make any sense. And everything else.
And then I don't know if this is what Jackie's talking about, the whole council, like meaning like when people were advising her not to attack King's Landing with the dragons and stuff through the whole beginning part of the season. You can't do that. People are going to die, or you can't do this. You got to do this, or all the distracting counseling of her to tell her to not attack or attack in a stupid way. Go get friggin' Casterly Rock for some reason and do this and do all these like weird tactics that just doesn't make sense. Like, why not just immediately go to King's Landing, surround King's Landing, and then force Cersei's hand right there in that moment when Dany's head's still on and not all these losses, and then you show the full power of your force right there, right then, and deal with it afterwards. And then you can simply have the people will turn on Cersei. They really would. I don't know. It seems like she was just getting bad advice from the start, and I don't know. A lot of stupid stuff in this final season. I don't want to go into it.
Yeah, no doubt. So I think that would change it. We worked on the change for that. Moving on to Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah.
I think Euron ending, it starts with Euron's introduction and
all of Euron
had him do. You have to stick more to the book in this situation. I mean, coming from the King's Moot was terrible. They did a terrible job at that. They introduced his character terribly. And
did you like any scenes with him? Like, because I'm struggling to think of one scene I liked with in respect to this guy. He did what he could with the material, but he wasn't Euron. I mean, if they had just made a random Greyjoy character, maybe he would have been like, but like calling him Euron, having him ride the silence, doing certain aspects and bringing certain aspects of that Euron was almost spitting in your face kind of thing of people that would know the real Euron. And if not, just making him seem like an over-the-top, silly, cheesy character that seemed like discount Joffrey Ramsay for like people that don't know the Euron in the books would just look at him and go, oh, this is like The Walking Dead doing another villain this week that's like the governor and like this guy again. It's just another a sick bad guy to go with the bad guys again, and he just had nothing interesting about his characterization on the show? Nothing. He was crude. Was that it? He liked
Yeah,
to
yeah.
he liked to say pussy a lot.
It should have been Mads Mikkelsen as Euron Greyjoy. Like,
Fucking the dude that played someone from Vikings. So someone from the show Vikings.
you could have someone, even someone from the show Walking Dead. They could have found people in it. It shouldn't have been this. And I got no disrespect for this actor or anything else like that. You know what I mean? But
Ragnar.
you should have had someone else in there playing him. You shouldn't have tried to. I think maybe they said, "Hey, he looks similar to Alfie Allen, so let's bring him in as this person."
Yeah, but he looked closer to Alfie Allen's age than Balon. He looked more like another son of Balon rather than his brother. Like,
Yeah.
he was just young. It was like he was also just too young. Like, I'm sorry, there was a lot of problems with that casting. They needed to get AK says she agrees. Madge, that would have been a great pick. So many other people. I just think very rarely on the show, I think they cast poor, even if they cast actors that didn't look necessary, like in Ramsay's case. Even though it's not perfect to the image of Ramsay or some of the other picks, but I think in this one was one of the only situations, Sand Snakes as well, that I think were just strikeouts of casting. I think, and that was one of the problems of the later half too. With these,
at least the Sand Snakes were hot.
Yeah, but they were like in okay. And I gotta say the actress that plays one of the Sand Snake that was Colleen on the Iron Fist, which is a horrible show, but she was the best part of the Iron Fist. So she's a good actress and she can do good things. So maybe it was the way they were written or directed or something, because they're not necessarily bad actresses, or at least one of them. And what I've seen them in other things, they're not bad actresses. I just think it was bad material. I think Euron, it was bad casting. Like, I don't think he's a bad actor. I just think he wasn't right for that part.
Yeah, he wasn't right for the part. And he just didn't convey. If anyone has read the books and knows anything about Euron, you just know that he's supposed to have this certain amount of sinister sexiness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, didn't project any of that on screen. You know what I mean? He's supposed to be, like when you see him go down there and try to seduce Cersei, like, he's supposed to be able to do it because he's a good-looking guy and he's sinister. Like, it's supposed to be believable. Like, this dude wasn't believable. Like, this guy couldn't seduce the cashier at McDonald's around my way.
I like this. Nick Cage could have been Euron. Maybe in a certain age. Maybe
Nick Cage could have done it. I would have took Nick Cage.
I don't watch that.
I would have took Nick Cage. There's no doubt about it. I would definitely took Nick Cage.
Like, look at all Con Air, Nick Cage cross between crazed out Nick Cage. That would be
we got a super chat here. Thank you for the super chat from Emily Christina. Thanks so much. Very generous of you to do that. She said Euron's only redeeming quality was killing the Sand Snakes. So, All right. So the killing of the Sand Snakes, I thought the actual killing itself was good. But him coming down on the thing like he's a professional wrestler, like on and then onto the ship. I thought that was terrible. It was funny. It made me laugh.
It was hilarious.
I like the fact that he killed them with their own weapons. Like, he stabbed the other one with the spear, picked her up in the air. She looked like the actual sigil. He had her stand up there and everything else like that. All that stuff. You know what I mean? I got love for it. They did that good. And Alfie Allen, doing a 5-star frog splash.
Okay, that was one of the only moments I liked this Euron character. The line read when he was like, "Did you see little Theon running and jumping off? What the shit?" Or what a pussy. I forget what he says. What
he did the 5-star frog splash.
Dude, he did the triple ending. He was like running Dangerfield and back to stairs.
He was at the goddamn door. Like, that I liked. I did like that. I can't. What up to my man KP is in the building? What up, my brother? I see him up in here. I see you. I see you, brother. Don't think I don't see you, man. Don't think I don't see. But yeah, that was great. I enjoyed that part of it. You know what I mean? But still, the casting just wasn't done right. So when dealing with the ending of Euron, I mean, we deal with this is the whole thing. It goes down to trying to keep it within the constraints of the show, of what they're doing and stuff like that. And if it's going to come down to that point, then you gotta have in the end. You gotta have like, all right, take him out. Like he needs to be taken out. All right, like yeah, like the Yarsha or whatever you want to call it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? She's got to take him out. You have to have her do
No,
everything.
she doesn't want to be in the final, but she's going back to the Iron Islands to go see peace Theon. You go play with your friends. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. But I agree that it would have been better to have some sort of, I don't know, maybe even Theon and her taking him out together, or some sort, some sort of interaction with that. Him scaling his way out of there once it looks like Cersei's done, and then towards the end, some sort of interaction with the Greyjoys, some solution to his problem being within the Iron Islands thing, not being just Jaime stabs him on a beach in a one-on-one battle that I can't believe he lost against a one-armed man that was practically unarmed. Like how'd you lose that fight? Because he swam back and he was tired. It was just that fight was sad. I didn't like it. It was
terrible.
It's one of those things I block from my memory. It was just not one of the best action scenes that we've had in the show's history. It was just a mess.
It wasn't built like it just wasn't built up enough. It wasn't bad. There was nothing behind it. Oh, because I'm sleeping with Cersei, you know what I mean? And she likes to finger up the bum.
Oh, because he made that one line because he said that one thing about his having one hand too. I have two hands. I have many ships in two hands. Oh, they really built up that conflict. Oh, because we've Jaime said several times that he has no respect for Greyjoys. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yep. They've been arch rivals since the very beginning. Yeah, let's really focus on that. No, it was a silly conclusion that happened to be. It was almost just a way to stall because they needed more time for Dany to burn things while Jaime had to get up to get Cersei out. Because if he got up quicker, he would have got Cersei out in time and she would have lived. And then they would have had a dramatic moment between Cersei and Jaime, like you mentioned earlier about. So I think you kept Euron, unfortunately, on the show was always a tool to do other things. He never really had any currency or agency of his own on the show. And beyond the character, the actor being shittily cast, poorly written, I think they never make the character be anything for himself. He's always just, just a means to the end. He's just nothing. He's a nothing burger. Every scene he's in, he's just a big nothing burger and never really makes any decisions for himself for any reason.
Mads Mikkelsen in that role, and see how that role's changed. Just with his gravitas, it's a whole different Euron. Just with him on stage, his gravitas as a character.
He's an actual character.
Give him the same exact lines, give him the same role, and you would see how much different that someone like that portrays a role and how much better it goes with everything. So
AJ said exactly what I was trying to say. Much better. Euron without magic is boring.
Yeah, listen, he has to have that factor. You have to have the Shades of the Evening. You have to have the Warlocks. You introduced the Warlocks already. You introduced Pilot Pre. You introduced all those things already. So why wouldn't you introduce that? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you put that in there? And everything. Where's the Valyrian steel armor? Steel, she said. He stole that armor.
Well, yeah, he's gonna steal that fucking armor.
She's drinking with us, Jackie C. It's all good. You know what I mean? But if you're not gonna have Jon Snow fight the Night King, there's no reason to bring up the fucking armor.
No.
So there's no reason to bring that up. There's no reason to do anything like that.
Why have conclusions to things? Why build things up to have conclusions? We don't want to do that.
They showed the damn horn. They brought the horn up. They had Sam find the horn, right? And then never brought anything back with the horn. Here's dragon glass, and here's the horn, and we never did it. Let me highlight Shorty right here on Facebook, rocking with us from Facebook. Again, we are live on Facebook. If you can't make it to YouTube, always come on Facebook, Teflon TV. Make sure that thumbs up that Facebook page and everything else. And Marissa's saying Euron was also missing the menace of his relationship with his other brothers. And I 100% agree with you. And I thank you for watching from Facebook. Truly appreciate it, Marissa. Thank you for rocking with us. You know what I mean? And he didn't have any of that. It's just a character defect that they put in there. And if you're gonna make him Victorian and Euron, then you need to have him be menacing as Victorian, or cast somebody else as Victorian. Don't give him both parts.
Yeah,
Alexander Wilson, $5 saying Jordan struggling to write the story himself. It's almost 2022. Where's the Winds of Winter? I hope it does actually come out. I think when it comes down with that, my personal agrees. I think that he's not only struggling with it, I don't think he's into it as he used to be. I think he's into the Targaryen history.
he's
I think
past
he's
it.
into other things more than finishing that book. That's my personal opinion. I don't know the man, but that's what I think. I think because he put that Fire and Blood out really quick, I think he's more into doing things like that than the actual story of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think you'll see the end of the Duncan Egg novellas before you see before you see the end of Song of Ice and Fire. And to your point about Euron, yeah, I mean, even if you had brought in Victarion just for half a season to show Euron killing him or something, just to kind of show the menace, because the way they brought in Balon and that introduction with Balon in that situation just never really worked. And like even in that moment, it was good to see that moment, him shaking and seeing what happened to Balon, but the two of them didn't have any chemistry on screen together as brothers. And they didn't, and I said it earlier too about the age thing. They didn't look like brothers. Maybe they cast him because they thought he kind of looked like Alfie Allen, but he didn't look at all like his brother, Balon. How is Balon supposed to be 30 years older than maybe he is. And someone's like, Phil, he actually is 30 years older than Euron. But he looked a lot older than Euron on the show. They just didn't look like they were even from the same brother line or whatever. I was gonna say same litter, but it didn't seem like that. But I feel like that was some of the biggest problems with Euron. You didn't ever get a sense of his menace. Jack Gleason playing Joffrey as a little turd. You're still in that turd right into the moment he becomes king. In certain moments, you start to see menace. Ramsay, they did a good job.
You're scared for Sansa.
Yeah,
you're scared for Sansa because you know that this lunatic is capable of anything, and this actor could not pull that off like this guy. And he was the first time actor, never acted then, never acted since.
Nope.
And he was able to pull that off. Like you were there, like, God damn, man, what's he gonna do to Sansa, man? God damn, this bastard, he can do anything. Sansa's not safe down there. Sansa's gotta get away. I never felt that with Euron, that someone needs to get away from this guy.
No, dude,
he looked like the guy who's sitting at the bar with me in Applebee's. And I said Applebee's for a reason. You know what I mean? You know, and that's just what it is. You know what I mean? Joffrey made you nervous. Like, yo, shit could go down with Joffrey. You ain't safe around this motherfucker. All right. You know what I'm saying? This looks like the guy who's sitting next to me in Applebee's ordering goddamn wings.
Yep. You're like, be careful. Don't order that extra set of wings. Don't order the buffalo sauce. Stay the fuck away from that. But that is the thing. He just never created that menace in the way that you could argue the other two villains on the show. And yes, he was in Batman Begins when
was he really?
Yeah, he was in the very end of Batman Begins. There was a kid on the roof that like has one of Batman's batarangs or something, and Batman's like,
I remember. Is that him?
You can keep it. Yeah, it's Jack Lee. Let me see if I can find the picture to put.
I remember that. I didn't know that was him. I thought it was right. We got a celebrity in the building dropping the super chat with us. Look at this. You see?
Oh, good to see you, buddy. Long time, Smokescreen.
Exactly. My man, Smokescreen in the building, rocking with us. Thank you again, Smokescreen, especially for the super chat and showing up in here and showing us some love. I don't know if you were here earlier, but we shouted your book out a little bit earlier, telling people to go out there and go and buy your book.
Tony was going to do a giveaway, but he said he's going to wait till next year to not mess with your sale.
We won't go that far with it. We'll do it in Christmas. I want people to buy the book. I ain't going to say it and then do the giveaway. Then people are like, well, I'll just wait for the giveaway. No, go buy the book right now. We'll do the giveaway. We'll definitely do the giveaway. I'm going to do $100 of giveaways for the man.
Oh, that is awesome.
And we're going to buy $100 worth of books and give them away to the people. That's how we get down here on Teflon TV. So always pay it forward. But thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. Hope to see you. He did try to send me a copy of the book, but I told him I'd rather buy it myself than take the copy.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know what I mean? But I will get an autograph when I see your ass at one of these cons and stuff like that and everything else. So, but thank you, without a shadow of a doubt, for stopping by. And if any mods are in the building, I'm sure everyone here is already subscribed. But if you're not, definitely go look up and subscribe to the channel. Small Screen. Good cat right there. 100%.
Good people. Good people. So, okay. So what else do we have left here? Okay. We talked a little bit about the Danny change, about if we were going to change her up, we would want it to just give us some more time to engage in that. I think that's around where we are, because I think we both agree that you have to stretch out the White Walker problem longer throughout the series and have that occur more at the end of the season, towards the end of the season. So I don't know. I think you need some serious time to set up afterwards. Do you think it would be better if the John's parentage becomes public knowledge? And
it has to. I mean, it has to. And that's the whole thing that they set up too. Like, not only does it have to become public knowledge, it has to be believable. You know what I mean? You have to get something to believe it and everything else. You know, you have to believe that. How is it going to be believable? You have to have the will. You have to have something that, you know, the marriage certificate. You have to have something that says, hey, this really happened. You can't just go on Brand's word. You know what I mean? So you have to have something that, and this is why you need Howland Reed, because everyone knows Howland Reed was there. Howland Reed comes out there, he says everything else, and he puts up there, thank you for the super sticker. Can't see the sticker but I appreciate you for the super chat.
It looks like a dog that is going like this, saying thank you.
Oh, is it? Oh, thank you so much, Reflective Rambling. We truly appreciate that, and everything else like that, and all that good stuff. So you need to have that. We're gonna get Smoke Screen on here, and we gotta kidnap his ass. We're gonna bring him on here one time.
Get him on one of these what ifs.
All these one if situations and all that. But yeah, you know, it has to go down like that when you deal with situations like that. You know what I mean? You have to have, and they didn't play it up. You know, this is the whole thing. You know what I mean? This is we're gonna highlight this on the screen so that he can't back out right now.
Oh yeah, we both no, we do.
You do it.
No, we just had the equivalent of unlocking the door in a car. You know, like I'm pushing the button. I'm pushing the button.
You do it. You do it.
This is a contract. Smoke Screen just signed the contract.
It's done. It's all over. It's all over.
Yeah. You just invited the vampires into your house, Smoke.
It's all over. That's just the bottom line. All right, but when it comes down to it, it's set up, and I would say they set things up in the beginning and everything else, and it worked real good. But in the end, you have to have these things set up properly, and I think that they did not. AK Watts, thank you for putting that link up in there. There is a link to Smoke Screen's building. Go on there if you want it on Audible, or you want, you know, if you don't have time to read it, or you want Audible. I love Audible. Buy it off of Audible and buy yourself a hard copy to support YouTubers, man. Support us. You know what I mean? And help us. You know what I mean? We need this help, man. We need this love. Show us some love out here and everything else and stuff like that. Yeah, the whole thing with the rumor spread by Sansa, yet nobody questions it. Sansa's big ass mouth.
You learned from the best. You know, she's a bad.
Don't tell Sansa shit.
Did you hear about Jon Snow? Did you hear? But yeah, and I think you just needed more time for that to come out. So maybe in this what if scenario, the information about Jon's parentage comes out at Winterfell when they first arrive at Winterfell, when Dany in episode 1, when they all arrive at Winterfell, they meet up with Bran. Sam is there too, and Howland Reed shows up too, and after the big greet at the beginning where Jon's like, she's my queen and blah blah blah. Jon, we need a minute, and they like take him aside with Dany there, and they explain to him the truth. That sets up a lot of drama in that situation, and then Dany and Jon have to deal with and it sets it up right there at the very beginning of the season. The point that all these people think that Jon really should be the king. Jon's saying in that moment, I don't want it. She's my queen. I don't want it, but no one cares. and it just keeps moving up and more like that. I think if you set it up there early and you get that information out early, it becomes a ticking time clock on Danny, and then it makes sense later after the battle why when she sees everyone going so, licking John down and getting into him, why it turns her towards the heel turn, like when Shawn Michaels sees Marty Jannetty getting too much love and he wants to kick him in the freaking face and do the complete heel turn.
Exactly. There's no doubt, you know what I mean? So Oak says he wants to jump on right now. You want to jump on right now? I mean, you can jump on right now. We'll bring you on there right now.
Right, I can figure it out, I think.
Do you have one?
I'm going to send the link to your Twitter.
Yeah, send it to on Twitter. We'll get Smoke on here right now, and then we're going to talk some smoke screen stories. I'll save it till he gets on.
I think I have Smoke on Twitter. Let me see.
Do you have? If you can't figure, I'll add him and stuff like that. We'll get him on here right now. Set up, Smoke. We're gonna bring you on here right now.
Yes, I do. 1 second.
And MD, thank you for watching again. If you can't make it on YouTube and anything else, you can definitely check it on Teflon TV. You know what I mean? On Facebook. Why wouldn't Danny just marry John and they rule together? So that comes down to John. John didn't want to do it. That was John. John all of a sudden got morals. You know what I mean? And stuff, and all of a sudden cared about that situation. But yet, and that happens like when that stuff happens, it's like it's a little sideways on that, because you also have the issue when dealing with that with hey, they were going. George R. Martin was going to have John fucking around with Arya.
I think Danny would have
be willing to fuck. Now listen, Arya has is his cousin, all right, but still, it's still a situation where there's blood involved, and he was going to be willing to do that. Why would they do something different and stuff like that?
Now, Tony, do you think, like, to that point, I think Danny would not have had a problem with the John auntie nephew situation. I think it was John and they never clearly identify what John's problem is once the information is out there. Is it because
he never said it straight up?
Right. He never said, I have a problem because you're my auntie. He said it always became about she's my queen, and now because of this whole thing that I'm really the ruler. It never gets straight about that.
She said specifically, Targaryens have been marrying, brothers to sisters that's just the way it was. It's no big deal. You know what I mean?
This is a step up from marrying Viserys,
Yeah, like, and then John's like, no, but I can't. You're my aunt. I can't do that. You're my aunt. You're my hot aunt, but I can't do that. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. No reason to.
What's that?
No reason to go back. Let's take a couple of comments there. Right. They never even deal with whether John wanted her. They just kind of put it off to the back where he was almost dealing with, I'm holding off because it's complicated now. They never get into it. I think the only person that brings it up even for a second is Varys. When Tyrion and Varys are talking about it, like they almost have the discussion for John and Danny. Like there are narrators. Like we can't write a scene with Kit and Emil having a discussion about this and getting down to how they both feel about it. So we'll have Tyrion and Varys have a conversation about how John and Danny must feel about it. And I think it was a scene where Varys is like, well, he's not going to want to marry her. He's her aunt. And then they're like, well, it's happened for centuries. Like they're giving us the backstory of Targaryen history in case we didn't hear it before, instead of showing us having Danny and John have the disagreement. Because whenever they had it, it was always about, you're my queen. I don't want the rulership. I don't want the title. I don't want to be the king. I don't want to be the leader of the band. But it never really gets into, there's a moment where she tries to kiss him and stuff and he kind of pulls away. But it's not illustrated like, you're my aunt, that we can't do this anymore. It's more, there's so much more here. It's like, one of us is king here, and there's a lot of buildup and discussion. I don't think they ever fully show you that John's uncomfortable with the fact that she's his aunt.
Let me answer this real quick. Let me get this done real quick with Lady Starfall. I love you. It says, well, so you would not entertain any speculation that Jon Snow could be real Ned? No, it's not. No. It's no way. It makes no, and I respect anyone who thinks this way or has a theory. Everyone makes a theory or wants to be. And I'm not trying, say anything bad about anybody's theory or anything like that. But I'm just saying that it does not make story sense for that to be. John has to be the Song of Ice and Fire. He has to be the daughter of a Stark and a Targaryen. Being a Sher Dane's son with Ned makes no sense. There's no reason to hide that fact. The fact that he was hidden. Why wouldn't he just tell Cat? Cat already suspected that was the case. So why not just say, hey, that's the case. I had sex with the hottest chick in the land and wound up knocking her up and having a baby. So for those reasons, when you really look at that theory, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't lead anywhere in the story for her to be the baby's his father. It doesn't make any sense for that to happen.
This is a quick aside, but I always wondered, and we've talked about this a little bit on other occasions, that Ned never, and I understand that he kept the secret. He wanted to keep a secret, but he wasn't the only one that knew it. Howland Reed knew the secret too. Did he never fully trust Kat to keep her mouth shut about John? Did he never get to a point where he was seeing the way that Kat's treating John every single day and just go, you know what, Kat, between you and me, it's Lyanna's son with Rhaegar, and she died in birthright. Robert will kill him. Can we just keep this between you and me? And I don't know. I'm surprised that he never had that conversation with her at one point in time, because he seemed to have a sense of trust with her that he didn't have with other people, and really sort of a unspoken language. But maybe because, as we see later with him kidnapping Tyrion without his knowledge, he never quite trusted him 100%.
Right. We're gonna bring this right before I do this. We're gonna bring the superstar in, and he's here. Right, we're seeing backstage. All right. So AJ Barker, Ashara is probably Howland's wife. I understand why you want to believe that. I would like to believe that Kim Kardashian could be my wife. All right, I do. But the hottest in the world is not sleeping with some frog eater who got beat up by some squires. Like, I mean, let's face facts, people. I understand that people want to say, "Hey, the little guy is going to win in the end." No, unless it was put out there that Howland Reed was hung like a horse, all right, and Howland Reed was doing all this, ain't no way she coming up here messing with some dude who couldn't even be squires. She's the hottest chick in the land at that time. All right, let's go through. All right, joining us right now. It's not his first time on Teflon TV, and it will not be his last time. He is joining the Usual Suspects podcast in the Bridge 4 seat, the one, the only Smokescreen.
Oh shit! Damn. Thanks for the intro, man.
No doubt.
Hey, thanks for having me. I did not mean to interrupt y'all's show, man. I was just chilling and watching. I didn't mean to take over or whatever, but I appreciate it.
No, you're very much invited here to rock with us. Appreciate you rocking with us and everything else. A salute to you. Congratulations on the release.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'll have a sun drop to that.
There you go. Congratulations on your release on your book and everything else. And we're going to talk a little bit about your book real quick before we go back into it. So how long did it take you to write that book?
Oh, damn. 2 years.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, at least. I mean, I probably spent most of the time after I moved finishing up, but I started it about 2.5 years ago.
All right.
Something like that. Got the idea and started writing a little bit, and then got serious about it after I moved about a year ago.
All right.
So it's been a minute.
That's what it takes a while. It takes a while.
It takes a while.
Yeah. Believe me, I know.
Yeah, man. I tried to send you one. He wouldn't send me his address. I'm like, let me send you a signed copy. I'm not looking for promotional stuff. I just wanted to send out, my YouTube buddies a signed copy and everything. And Tony said, nah. And I understand. I appreciate that, Tony, because you have put a book out, and I do understand to let me get the free book thing. So
yeah. I put out books, and I understand. Like a lot of friends I've had,
right.
who go out, I want a copy of that book. Just give it to me. Like listen, go buy it. You know what I mean? If you really want to support me, then go buy the book. I can give you one. That's not a problem. But it is what it is. So I'd rather buy the book myself and everything else.
I'll still send you a copy though, man. Let me sign you a copy and send it. Either way, I appreciate the love, and if you do the giveaway and all that, it's really cool, man.
I will do the giveaway. That's a done deal. You don't have to worry about that. That's done. That's just gonna definitely happen. All right. So let's get into. So we're talking about how season 8 could have been fixed, how they could have fixed season 8,
man.
what they could have done to make it better at this particular time.
The simplest way.
We'll move on a little
right.
bit. We'll move on a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit about the character of Arya Stark. Let's go through her right now. Did you like the way they portrayed Arya in the season 8? And if not so, how would you have thought they could have done a better job?
I don't know if I liked almost anything about season 8. Honestly, how do you go from 4 seasons of probably the best TV in history to this shit? Arya, yeah, the whole Night King thing was you. I think you mentioned it earlier before I came on. You know, why are you building up the Jon Snow Night King thing? Why are you building up the army? Talk about Euron, mention all that stuff. Why are you doing that if you're not going to follow through and just have a stare down? And then have Arya jump out of what, the tree? I'm not sure exactly. We're
still trying to figure out where she jumped.
Yeah, I think
she had height. I mean, listen, that was Hops. That was Hops. She jumped pretty high, and I'm gonna tell you about Hops because one time I was talking like before I see Chris, like we were talking everything else, and I was like telling him, listen, I'm gonna see you on the basketball court, son. He's like, oh, I'll see you. I was like, I'll see you. When I see them in person, I was like, this motherfucker 6'5". Fuck you.
It's like I'm going in for jump shots.
You big ass motherfucker, you at it?
Yeah. All those short people at the cons.
Yeah, I was like, nah, motherfucker, I ain't fucking with you. But I'm saying, I was like, she got some height up there, and me personally, I just thought, it just wasn't set up for her.
No,
to be the one
it was literally, yeah, exactly. It was purely subverting expectations. There was no foreshadowing for it. I appreciate them using the dagger.
Yeah,
I think the dagger's fine. And I think they're going to probably do something with that in House of the Dragon. But Arya, just for the sake of being Arya, sometimes you want to go with the so-called cliches, right? I mean, people want to say subvert expectations, and we don't want to use these tropes. And sometimes you need to use the fucking trope.
Yeah, cliches are cliches for a reason, because sometimes they work, and it's if you do the subverting thing every single time too, it becomes, you expect that becomes the cliche, and that's a really bad cliche unless you're watching like a David Lynch kind of film where everything's supposed to be all over the place all over the time. And I think what Tony did with his video, he was talking about Arya should have been dead a while ago, or at least out of the story in a sense. She shouldn't have been there, and you get in a situation where you have her and it's like, what do we do with her? Well, what would be cool if we have her do this and that, instead of she should still be wounded from what the waif did to her and then she jumped into that water and should have got an infection or something. Like Arya should have been, once she killed, or maybe out fighting the whites with the wolf army or something like that, something different with her, instead of being like, oh, this is the only thing we can do with the character. That's what it stunk of. It's like, oh, what's the most surprising thing? What's the most surprising thing we can do right now?
Like, you can't have, this is the whole thing about Arya. Her learn this faceless man technique. And then if you're going to say she went all this way, she learned how to change faces, and her big face change was Walder Frey, and that was it, then end her after that. She has to be able to do it. Like, you went through all this training with the waif to learn how to, someone's lying to detect it. But yet Peter Baelish was able to pull the wool over your eyes and Sansa right off the bat. No problem. What did you go through all this fucking training for? What was all that about? Why did you go through the Karate Kid montage of getting smacked around if that wasn't the case? You know what I mean? So,
right. I mean, I agree. If Walder Frey needs to be her, the use of that training for the faceless men, then use it. That's fine. You don't have to go any further than that for the character. I mean, if that's what you're, and then also I wanted to add to end it, the whole still west of Westeros thing. I always hated that because that's been done before. Alyssa Foreman, anybody, and they acted like it was some new thing. It was just like,
and the way the actors played it too was just like, you could tell that they didn't even believe what they were saying. They were
absolutely.
It was just played really poorly, and a show that usually has good performances at that point, once everything had popped, just like Tyrion's line read, "What's better than a story?" And we'll get to Bran in a second, but that's the kind of thing that it's disingenuine. There was a lot of disingenuineness in that final season. You can tell from the way that the actors didn't love it.
Yes.
I got shivers through my spine because I see a name that I have not seen in a very long time. We got to put her up on the board right here, and that is the one and the only, the Oracle from the small council. Claire Gray is rocking with us right now, and I love you, Claire. And happy to see you so much. Thank you so much, Claire, for stopping by. And she said, I don't think Arya was ever destined to have a happy ending. I guess the TV alternative was for her to disappear as an eternal adventurer. and, and I understand exactly why you see that. That's a tear, and you're correct. She's not destined to have a happy ending. If you look at the history of the books, anyone that they say has so-called wolf blood dies. Every one of them. There's no one who they say has that wolf blood and makes it out of the story. They all are hot-tempered. They all die in the end. Mm-hmm. Every one of them. So why would Arya be different? She should have died. I would have rather her die, went inside Nymeria, and led that wolf pack until her consciousness faded away.
That would have been an amazing conclusion
that she wanted to be.
And then you could have her have some connection with Bran and to make Bran more useful, and some coordination with the wolves and Bran from the battle with some sort of interaction with that on the astral plane or whatever. I'm thinking all X-Men, Professor X battling the Shadow King here, but like some sort of interaction on that level too.
I agree. The problem is they never set up from the get-go about the other Stark kids being potential wargs. Of course, they just kind of left that to Bran. But I agree that would have been outstanding.
Yep. And
I felt like that. We had like Tony was saying the whole backstory of everything, and then Arya, they set her up from the get-go. Being different. Not being your typical lady. But I thought it'd have been pretty nice for the character, at least for the show, if you have her going through all that and then things actually change. Maybe she does, love Gendry, but she marries him for love, not for political reasons or whatever. It don't have to be that, if that makes sense. It's just, I thought it'd been good to actually have her grow in some way where she pretty much stayed the same character from day one.
And just in a holding pattern. And you could say that about a lot of the characters where they didn't know where to go with them. It was just a holding pattern. Even we were talking about Jaime earlier, for all that character growth to go back to Cersei in that circle way. It's just the same. And we do also have a voicemail too after the super chat.
Right, let's go through the super chats real quick. Tony Sled, thank you so much. Very generous. Says people who do not read the books do not understand Arya was doomed ever since she chose Bravos over the wall. She cannot leave the Faceless Men. I agree. I hope they do something better with the Faceless Men. Show that they have a little bit more power.
Maybe have her be assassinated. Like
they're supposed to be able to do this. Like this is the organization, and she can just say, you know what? I'll put a face on the wall. I'm out. Okay, you're out. Bye. It shouldn't be like that. She should have to pay the price for that and everything else. And Blaze, thank you so much, my brother.
Good buddy.
For sending that super chat too. All right, we're gonna go to the voicemail. Phil, are you ready, Phil? Yeah,
this is area code 240.
Hey, Phil, it's your guy Marvin calling once again. Just a quick update on my initial question about why Jon and Dany didn't get married together. If you look at it outside of Targaryen lineage, other families intermarried, like the Starks. Ned's parents were first cousins, or were cousins. Cregan's sons married their half sisters. In Lannisters, Tywin's parents were first cousins. So cousins marrying cousins within noble houses have happened plenty of times within within Westeros history. So I don't see why it was such an oddity for Jon to marry a distant aunt that he never really knew, that he already had started having sex with.
Yeah, he was already having lots of sex with her after that.
Right.
Yeah, and I would hope it was pretty good. I in my family that I know, and I have my whole history of my family since they came to this country and they were taking this country. My grandmother and my grandfather were first cousins, and what it was back then when you don't see other people. Like back then when there was no street lights and there was no really big roads and there was all forests down in North Carolina where they grew up and everything else, the men you see are the men from your family. And 5 miles is a huge distance back then. I know right now we get in a car and you go 5 miles, it's nothing, but 5 miles is huge back then. You know, this could go 5 miles. So that's the way it was back then, even in my lifetime and everything else. You know what I mean? Not my life, you know, in my lifetime. So back then, it should not have been that big a deal. Jon Snow with these morals all of a sudden, I can't do it because you're my, you know, this does not make sense to me how that they justified that. And that was just something that I just did not see.
Situational writing. It's making the writing fit the situation instead of organically growing the characters and the story points. And that's the biggest problem with the end there, because as I was saying earlier, like if Dan and Dave were going to fan fiction this just to get to the point of the story points on the beat, they should have just made it all up. So you could at least organically take where the characters that they built to the end point, instead of being like, oh, we have to get these people here. And then they just made these odd choices, making certain characters stupid in certain moments because you needed to have them fit the where the conclusion point was, not just a natural point. Most stories, if they're done well, you have an end point in mind, but you go where the story takes you, you know, and they just wanted to rush it.
Yeah, they brought today's, like you mentioned, Phil, today's morals into a medieval setting where Jon wouldn't have really given a shit.
Nope.
Exactly. I 100% agree with you on that situation. So dealing with Arya, me personally, I think Arya should have died. I don't think Arya should have killed the Night King. I think Arya should have died. Now, how you have her die is a debate, how you wanted to have it go down. But I don't think they should. It's too many at the end of this Starks that made it too happy. You started the show as a place where it's like, hey, that anyone could die at any time, to a place where you got afraid to kill the characters off when the series was ending.
Yep.
And
100%.
whether you had her die at the Battle of Winterfell, whatever, I would have rather seen a faceless man dressed up as Sansa, pull that face off, and then kill her, and then that's it. And it'd have been Jack and Hagar, like, you don't leave us. There's no, you know, this is blood for life. You don't leave us. Boom, kill her. Whatever. She should have paid the price.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or at least go out maybe helping Jon in some way, to use that training in some way or something. You know, maybe she can help. Maybe he's in a corner and whatever, and use some of those skills that she learned. But yeah, it was a waste.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. If they were gonna do it, I think maybe do it with Peter Baelish. You had Peter Baelish going to this girl. They showed him in Winterfell, slipping notes. Have her be that girl.
Yeah,
catch him in a lie that way, and that's how you caught him in a lie. She used her faceless men tactics, and you caught him in a lie just like that. You should have used it more. If you're gonna go through all that, her learning all this, you don't just have her use it with Walter Frey. And that's it. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that when she's fighting the Night King, all of a sudden she gets the face of a White Walker and she stands right next to the guy. And all of a sudden, oh, it's them, it's Arya. I ain't saying that. I'm not going crazy.
No, but they set this House of Black and White and this whole situation up as a really intense organization that Arya basically just screwed over. And I think you set it up perfect there. They come back and they take revenge. It's like even in Batman Begins, when Bruce burns everything, they come back to Gotham to screw him over. You can't just do something like that to an organization like that and not have them come back. Spoiler alert, they come back in the third movie too to try to screw Batman over again too. And Arya's no Batman in the situation where she can just get away from that. They would have come back. They would have, if she's on that boat somewhere, one of those people on that boat is a faceless assassin and murders her en route west of Westeros. That should be her conclusion. One way or another, they need to get that life from her because she took a lot of lives.
Let me just go through them. Thank you, Tony Sled, for the super chat. Very generous. Each Stark is tragic. Direwolves live for them. The poetry of Arya is she set her wolf free. Nymeria will never be conquered. Arya will suffer. I agree with that. I would like to live. If you're gonna have second lives and you're gonna bring it up, I think it would have been better for her to live a second life in them. And Angie says, "Thank you for the super chat. Very generous." You said Dany wasn't giving Jon the Cersei experience. I don't know about that. Dany, you know, she was trained by prostitutes. You know, so yeah, I mean, I would think that Dany knows how to work that.
Yeah, Daria taught her, right? I mean, that was the whole thing.
Yeah, that was.
I mean,
I would think that she could work Jon Snow.
yeah, exactly.
Who was he with?
And I mean, Dario.
It was like Jon Snow was with all these women. Jon Snow was just, he was with Ygritte, and he went down on her, and she went crazy about it. So Danny's been gone down on, back on, and everything else. Khal Drogo's about that life.
Yeah, Danny turned Dario's head, who had seen probably a lot of action over his life. So if Danny's doing that to Dario, I mean, John's gonna just be like twisted in her fingers. Like a little.
It's just obvious. She jumped on top of Khal Drogo's head, and you can see Jason Momoa's face. And he's like, "Oh shit, what's this?" And then right after that scene, he was I was in you my girl forever. I ain't letting you go never. And that's just what it was, you know what I mean? Khal Drogo was a done deal. She worked that ass. So I would think that she could have worked little ass Jon Snow.
Khal Drogo couldn't even control that. Yeah, exactly. Jon was, and I think that's why Jon was, what they were trying to play, that Jon was conflicted with that stuff. But to get back to Arya, I think, unfortunately, as much as, and I say unfortunately in the sense because I do like the actress portrayal, and I think you got too into that by the end of the series. Like you got into it with The Walking Dead too, like with certain characters in certain situations, instead of making a show that got its bones on the fact that anyone can go at any point. I mean, a lot of other things too, but that feeling of unsafe at the end there, it would have been more tragic if you find a way that all Arya's actions, everything she did, still didn't matter because, she has to look over her shoulder all the time and they kill her. That's a better arc. That's a better storyline for her instead of, she comes home, has a fight with Brienne to set up the fight with the Night King, and then jump out of nowhere to go kill the Night King. She was scared. We saw her scared with Danny and angry too. Yeah, there was that. I mean, but that's nothing. She didn't even get to Cersei. She came to King's Landing to kill Cersei. She didn't even make it to her either. She didn't really have a use at the end. And I think, unfortunately, the best action for her in this what if scenario is killing Arya much earlier.
I will say I actually like that scene with the Hound though at King's Landing. It's the only time in season 8 where she was almost Arya again, almost human. She became too damn robotic, in my opinion. So that scene where he's like, "Look, I'm not leaving here," type of thing. Go live your life. I thought that was pretty good.
And as we said from the beginning, they didn't do everything wrong. They did
do
things right. And we're not here to bash them or anything. We're just talking about. No. So they did do some things right. That was a good scene. But then we have to back it up with a horse out of nowhere just happens to be there. It just comes out of nowhere. It just stops. It has a saddle on it. Has everything.
It was Bran.
All this stuff is going on. Dragon fire, buildings falling, but this horse ain't leaving. It's gonna stop so you can walk up on it and jump on its back. So, when they do get things right, and let's go right into the Hound right after this. I think they do get some things wrong, but no says should have done 2 regular seasons less SFX. I agree with you on that to a point.
I agree with half of that. I think the 2 regular seasons, I think if you do 6 episodes, maybe the final season, again, I said at the beginning I wasn't going to dwell on amount of episodes, and I feel like all I've said tonight is amount of episodes. You should have had 2 6, if you want to do 6 episodes, 2 6-season things, like split in half. That should have been the arrangement. You needed at least 2 or 3 more episodes or something, like a movie, HBO movie afterwards, a epilogue-y kind of thing. I don't know. I think the timing that they took with it that's the biggest problem. The biggest what if here is, what if they had actually had 20 episodes for the final 2 seasons instead of, what do we have, 13 was it? Was it 15 or is it 15? Whatever. Less. A lot less. It was, what was it, 8 and 6? 8 and 6
for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So 14 episodes.
I think, all right, so just skipping and going down and everything else and stuff. And let me get this from Kelly Johnson. I know he asked a quick other question. Let me get this. Thank you, T. Did Danny turn Jon out like Madonna did Den Rod? I think Den Rod may have turned out Madonna. If you ask me,
Rodzilla.
I think he would have did that and everything else. But I would say that, when dealing with the Hound, and dealing with. I know that they want Clegane Bowl. People just wanted him to fight his brother. He should have died during the Battle of the White Walkers.
Absolutely.
Should have never made it down. You got to kill these characters. And they didn't kill anybody. They had people dying at Little War battles. He should have died to my opinion, in the Battle of the White Walkers. Smoke, what do you think about the Hound? Did you like the ending? What do you think he should have
done?
I
agree. I mean, I like the actual scene. I mean, obviously you want him to get revenge, but the better arc for the character was for him to forget about revenge, right? That's what I've said for years since this thing started. We had every year we had Clegane Bowl hype, Clegane Bowl. I agree. I wanted to see it, but for the character, you have to have the Hound as he's changing and, kind of catching feelings for people and shit from being so hard for all those years. Let him have the arc of forgetting about revenge. And, I would have been fine if he never came back and just been the gravedigger.
Yeah.
I'd have been totally fine with that. Yeah. Just be on the Isle in peace.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like it would be nice if we saw him, we found him, but we never actually saw him again after the whole thing with Ian McShane and like all that, and he just never comes back to the action. Because I agree with you, Tony. If we accept that season 7 happened, if we're not taking this back through season 7, and that we're going right just 8, that Hound is back with the group. He's with the group that goes up north and all that crap. He needs to die in that. Or I think it makes sense. Maybe even he dies saving somebody else or running into the fire or something, overcoming his fear of fire to save Arya in the middle of the battle or something, that's stupid and cheesy, but
that's always been my prediction, by the way, Phil. It's always been my prediction that he would definitely die by fire, but doing it for somebody else and not about revenge.
Like overcoming that and also showing one final swoop, he, has some goodness in him and these relationships matter.
That's how you do it. So if we need to have him die like that, let's say he dies, we'll take Smoke's prediction to die by fire. Phil's prediction, he needs to save someone. So this is how you do it. It's pretty easy. If you would hire me, HBO, I'm here for you. So the White Walkers attacking King's Landing. White Walkers are attacking Winterfell. Sansa is in the crypts. He goes down there, and when they're trying to escape because all the Starks are going around and they're coming back to life and being resurrected, he sets fire to all of those resurrected Starks and stays back and fights through the fire to allow Sansa and Tyrion.
There you go. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Almost a Hodor moment with fire. I agree. 100%.
He even saves Tyrion. He even saves Tyrion with a wise ass comment. Clegane, I guess you're not so much of an asshole, or some line as Tyrion walks out and says something wise ass to him, and they have a little funny exchange you can have, like, or whatever. If you
wildfire, like somehow they should have had some type of wildfire. He throws the wildfire down, then runs through the green flame, slashing all up while he's on fire, burning on fire, killing them all up. Then he dies, and that's it. And they all die. Sansa and them escapes. He protects Sansa. He protects Arya. He does his job. He's dead. Done deal.
Yeah.
Done. Let's get that.
I agree. I always thought he'd pick up a flaming sword since season 4 with Beric. I always thought he would, and that would have been a perfect scenario right there.
No, but we need to have Clegane Bowl.
Yeah, we got to have it.
Gotta have it.
People wanted it.
I mean, believe me, I get it. I get it. I totally get the hype about Clegane Bowl, but
I made a video about it too. I was like,
if they would have just simply, like Tony just said, something like that would have been outstanding. But even like back in 5, I think it was, or whatever, 6, you have him with the Brotherhood or whatever, with I guess it's Brother Ray on the show. Just have him there. Let Brienne ride by and see him and know it's him. Confirm it to the audience and let him go.
Yeah, and that's it. You don't need to bring him back. They have him out in the ice, the lands of always winter, saying cunt all over the place. Like it's great. It's funny.
Yes, it's outstanding. It's
great. It's great having Varys and Tyrion make little dick jokes and no dicks and little short. Like that stuff's great. It's good to have more wise ass one-liners to put on t-shirts and stuff. But you don't need it. You didn't need to bring him back.
Know that. Jen S, thank you so much. I missed everything. Sorry, I was working. Don't be sorry, darling. I'm sorry you missed it if you wanted to watch it, but we're still here. And we'll be here for a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Obviously, we're keeping it 2 hours. We want to keep Smoke here all night and stuff like that. But we'll be a little bit longer and everything else. And thank you, Jenna, for the super chat. because I missed so much. Can't wait for the rewatch. Thank you so much. We know we love you. We love you so much. Thank you for supporting the channel as much as you do. I mean, wouldn't work without you. We really need you here, and that's what it is. So thank you and all that. Someone else left a comment real quick. Miss Van Jones says, Don Tony Teflon just dropped by to say hi. Consider this possible ending Arya sails west of Westeros and she lands in Middle Earth.
Why not? I mean, why not?
At this point, yeah.
You might as well.
She lands in the Shire. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you might as well. I would say you might as well. If you're going to do it, spice it up. If you're going to go through that, spice it up. Spice it up and everything else.
You fool of a took. Stay away from her.
And that's just where A Song of Ice and Fire. That is A Song of Ice and Fire. Hello. I mean, I've never seen A Song of Ice and Fire before. Have you, Phil?
No, I feel like I would remember that name. That's a good name to get. That's a good YouTube name to like lock that one down. It's pretty simple too. It's great.
No doubt about it. I appreciate you being here, Song of Ice and Fire. Thank you for rocking with us and chilling with us. The Don Tony Teflon, Phil the Issues Guy, usual suspects. We have Chris from the channel Smoke Screen rocking with us right now. Make sure you are subscribed to Chris's channel. He has a new book out. Not only a book, it's in Audible form. If you need to watch it on Audible, it's called Crimson Gods.
The Crimson God, yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the love.
Definitely check that out and go buy that book.
Do it.
And buy it. Buy both. Buy the Audible version and buy two. It's paperback and hardcover right now. We have released or what?
Yeah, hardcover, paperback, audiobook, ebook, whatever you want.
That's perfect because you can buy all three. You can buy
there you go.
One for a gift, one for the car, and one for home.
It's right here. Christmas is here. You know, I personally myself, I like to buy the Audible book and read the book at 2 times the speed at the same time. That's
double speed.
I
do too.
You know what I mean? So maybe that's what you want to do. Be like the Don, be like Smoke, and try that. You know what I mean? Get that done. AK Watches, put it right up.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I promise you I didn't come on here for some kind of book promotion. I was just lurking and said hello, and that was it. I didn't mean that.
It's fine. Yeah, we believe
we were doing it anyway.
I really appreciate it, man. For real. For real. You when people step out, people don't get YouTube, man, and how hard it is, what a grind it is for years. And then you step out of your comfort zone and do some other things. I'm there to support everybody, man. Quinn's got a new book coming out, pre-ordered his, a long time ago, graphic novel. So I'm looking forward to that too. So a lot of people doing big things, man.
And no doubt about it. All right. So we have figured out what we thought would be a better ending for Arya. All right, we'll go right into, since we're talking about Arya, into Sansa, the Queen of the North. Situation for her and everything else. Now, a lot of people did not like. Listen, Sansa's one of the most hated people.
Well, if Sansa's not joining the kingdom, I don't want to join the kingdom either. Like, you told me not every single other person there is going to say, well, I'm not doing it either. If his sister doesn't want to be in this damn kingdom, I'm not doing it. Like, sorry.
So let Sansa's ending. All right. So, did you like Sansa's ending?
Look, I'm known over there on the old dead channel Smoke Screen for I don't have a lot of love for Catelyn, and I don't actually hate Sansa, but I did not like the ending for her because it felt like she should have. I mean, look, I feel for what she went through with all the shit she went through, and in the book, she is the Stark you're supposed to hate, is she not? I believe so, in the books anyway. And so
in the first book too,
there's a lot of I guess fandom debate over Sansa and whether you like her or not, whatever. I felt like she never changed. I mean, as a character overall,
yeah, and
she went through a lot of shit. She was a good leader up in Winterfell, the way the show portrayed her and all that stuff when John was down in on Dragonstone and all that stuff. So that's fine, but it just felt like she always had to. And then to betray him instantly and 10 minutes later, just really sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, it just didn't make a lot of sense in the context of the way the season laid out. And I know they were setting it up, like even the back and forth between her and Arya in that final season just seemed like a lot of much to do about nothing. And I think the end point that we get with her character, was again all about those endpoints. I think they just had that view in their mind of wanting to see her crowned Queen of the North and see that scene. And how could we get to that scene? It didn't make a lot of sense in the sense of Bran becoming king and everything that had happened, that she would fall out. I'm making a joke about the other people being like, my kingdom too. But I just felt like that didn't make a lot of sense. It just seemed not fleshed out. And I don't hate the character of Sansa as much as some, in the sense of I feel like Sophia Turner played what they gave her as much as possible. I just feel like they didn't write a lot of progression for her character. And
yeah. She was supposed to go, she went through all that hell to change, and she didn't really change, in the end. I mean, I thought that was the whole point.
It's the common thing I keep hearing is it just didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, we keep saying this over and over again that didn't make sense. You can't have her come down in this Maleficent outfit, right?
Yeah, right. And Darth Vader style.
Good word.
I got this now. I got this. And then get put in the worst situation than you were before. Like, you know, you were with Joffrey. I got this. You're supposed to learn from Cersei. I got this. Learn from Littlefinger. I got this. And then, oh, Ramsay, you're going to talk shit to Ramsay? Like, right in his face? You're a bastard. No one's going to like you. No one's going to do this. No one's going to do that. And everything else. Like, you know, it just doesn't make sense that you would do that. And it just made her ending her character this like done. And I think they tried to turn it around for her by giving her the Ramsay, the rape scene with Ramsay. And I can somewhat see that, because it doesn't have the same emotional bearing if it's someone we don't know. So they wanted to make it a character we knew.
Yeah.
And I understand why they wanted to do that. But you still had to have her use her training. Same thing with Arya. They have this certain training, and they never got the chance to truly use the training.
Except for the parkour part, with Arya. Parkour, that's all.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, she could have been the next Bond girl doing that shit.
Sansa, queen of the needle points, as Bella goes. Sansa's kind of broken emotionally. Yeah, they just never again really knew what to do with her because they swayed so away from the narrative that they had for her, and they went in a different direction. They remember that whole year where they previewed that we were going to get like this Darth Sansa, you know, like a dark, and it was just like she dyed her hair for 2 episodes, and she's just the same Sansa. It's like 2 episodes.
Never changed. We kept hearing too between seasons, oh, you just wait till next year. She's going to be a badass.
Yep, it's next year.
That never happened.
Never did. It was
when she sat there and she was like, you know,
it was like Lost.
And she was like, I could have Brienne cut you down right now. You should have.
Yeah.
Like, don't say it. It's like, yo, Brienne, take him out. Whoosh, done. Next, let's go on. And that's the Sansa I want to say, like the, you know what? I'm done. Like that's what you needed to get. You need to get to that Sansa like, you know what? I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done. Whoever says anything wise is catching it. And when Peter Baelish went to meet her, I could have Brienne cut you down right now. She should have been like, you know what, Peter? Done. Get him out. Yep. He's out. You know what, Brienne? Chop his head off. Done. He's dead. And then that would have shown like, yo, Sansa is not bullshitting anymore. And that's it. You know, it's a wrap. You fuck with Sansa, it's like, you know, it's a done deal. You got one chance, you say the wrong thing, you're dead. She's not playing with anyone anymore. And they never got to that point with her. Never.
Yeah, they tried a little bit with Ramsay, you know, with, you know, being tied to the chair and all that in the kennels, but that was about it. I agree, man, 100%. She should have been the badass earlier and never let him come close to Winterfell.
Wasted expectations with that character a lot of times. And again, we're talking specifically about the television show here. It's wasted expectations with what got built up about her overcoming, and essentially it just, in that final season, to me, a lot of her conflicts with Jon seemed very whiny at times, and I didn't enjoy her dynamic in most of the second half of the final couple of seasons. But are there any characters we have not really talked about their conclusion?
I think it's a bunch. I think this it could
be. You could go forever, man. Yeah, let me say really quick too about Sansa, though. I'm sorry.
Oh no!
Just at the very end, why are you not standing up for your brother? He don't have to go beyond the wall. Bran's the fucking king, right? I mean, I'm not sure the whole. Do we have to let the Unsullied leave to pardon him or whatever?
Yeah, once they leave, don't you just go, okay, John?
I mean, if he wants to, fine, but let him make the choice. Let him be on the, at least have a word in the council. And she should have been standing up for that, being the one that ratted him out.
That being said about John, he should not have lived. There's no way, conceivably, that he could kill Daenerys and Grey Worm and her people not kill him
right away.
Just put him in jail. Yeah. It's from everything we've learned. There's no way he gets away with that and not. Grey Worm was killing people like fucking. I'm killing everyone. It is what it is.
Yeah, he was beheading people in the streets when the battle was over.
Whatever, for no reason. I'm going to kill these people for no reason. This is the chick who brought you out, did all this. Missandei's dead. Everyone's dead. He kills Dany, and you just put him in jail? No.
If Drogon didn't do it, Grey Worm would have done it in a second. And people in the live chat are saying Tyrion. We haven't really talked about what's the end of Tyrion's story. And then I guess we should talk about his brand with King and all that sort of stuff. And then
what we'll do is we'll do another one.
Yeah, this will be a two-parter.
Yeah, we'll do a two-parter on this, and we'll talk about the other characters and go through, because season 8 was, there's a lot going on there, and we'll talk about them. We'll go through other characters and everything else. But yeah, as Tony said, Grey Worm would have killed him with his head. There's no conceivable way that he survived. He just gets put in jail. I don't care. Grey Worm and them. You think Grey Worm all of a sudden? I'm sorry. You think he's just sitting there and he's just like, I'm concerned about people sieging King's Landing. He don't give a fuck if he died. His woman he loved is dead. He didn't care about his life until he loved that woman. You know what I mean? He did not give a fuck about life. So he would not have cared if y'all would have came in there and stormed King's Landing and killed him if he would have killed him. He would have killed Jon. You don't just murder Dany and then go on trial and then get away with it. He got away with it. He killed her and who in the whole A Song of Ice and Fire series that we could say killed someone to that magnitude, and everyone knows you did it and actually got away with it.
Jamie. Jamie's the only other one.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and of course, John, obviously he had to tell somebody. He could have just said, I don't know, she flew off. But he's too, that's the Ned in him, right? I mean, that's the honorable shit. He walked out and apparently had his hands up, said, oops, I had to kill her. And yeah, he gets thrown in a room.
My bad. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. Jamie got away with it because Robert became king and he married his sister.
Right. Jamie got lucky with circumstances. But to your point, like right in that moment, that's something I would have liked to see, and they cut it. What was the immediacy? That's something I love in movies, and I hate when things cut at the wrong time. Like, what is the immediacy of Jon killing him? Drogon flies out of there. Then who comes in there and talks to Jon? What'd you just do? Like, where's Dany? Like, what does he have to explain to them? Oh, no, Drogon. She didn't go off with Drogon. I actually killed her. Does he
exactly? He
has to tell people that, or because no one.
Hey, go back to what we were saying earlier. Have Jon walk in the room just like the what's left of the room, just like he did. He pulls out the knife, does the thing, and it's Arya. There you go. I mean,
Arya did it.
Yeah, he's wearing. I guess it wouldn't be Jon's face. He had to be dead for that. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
all right. Listen, no. Says, why was the Night Watch still a thing?
Good question.
There's no need for the Night Watch when the White Walker's been defeated. So
good damn.
There is no thing for that. So you're exactly right. There's no reason for that. And I would have liked Jamie. If anyone should have joined the Night's Watch and you're going to keep him alive, it should have been Jamie Lannister. He should have been the one to go up there, be the new Lord Commander of the Night Watch, because now he believes the White Walkers are the thing. He's real. He's looking for his honor. I used to be that. Now I'm going to join that. I think it should have been him. And made fun of Jon in season 1 for doing it, and the bullshit handshake, fucking with him.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden now he believes I'm going to take over that, and you have a Lannister up there, and that's what I think it should have ended like that. Thank you, Vanessa Lay, for the super chat. I don't know if I ever seen you, Vanessa Lay.
It's a new name, definitely.
It is a new name, but I appreciate you being here, for rocking with us, and thank you. You know what I mean for that. And she says here, thank you for helping us with this project.
I tell you what, it's on Vanessa's point. It's really been pretty insane to me how a TV show can affect people like this, especially if you do YouTube about it. It's insane, man. It really did. It really did break your heart, man.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Especially for the people, like, even though there's the people that are way into it, and I've mentioned this before, but the people that never gave fantasy type shows before, and the people like my aunt, or the people like whatever that decided to watch it and got involved in the hype, the people at the restaurant I went to where everyone that worked there was like talking about it, and that was the show, and that was the thing, like they're watching sports, like they're watching the playoffs, and what's going to happen. Then Game of Thrones had it in the palm of their hand, not just for us that are Song of Ice and Fire universe fans that will take in all of this media, whether it be book or show or whatever. It had that mainstream thing for that moment, and it probably could have kept it for a lot longer, and it bumbled the ball. You had it and you screwed it. It's like that De Niro movie where he says, you had it, you screwed it up. It's like you just had it in that moment. And I think those are the people I feel the most bad for, because they're hurt for life. I mean, with the new sequels, you have to make new fans, because there's a lot of people that
will they ever come back? Will they read another fantasy book? Will they pick one up? Who knows? Doubt it.
Yeah, it's tough.
And ironically enough, I don't know if you guys mentioned this before I came on earlier, but season, I think episode 2, right, was one of the best episodes in the whole fucking show.
Yeah, Night of a
and the worst season they've ever made. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's I don't know. It's I said, that's why it boggles the mind when you really look at it. Hey, got the first thing from Super Chat says Drogon gave John the incinerator. He should have got rid. Listen, I've been witness to. I've seen fires, like big fires, happen in houses. I'm sure a lot of people have. You cannot, if it's hot, go outside. Even you have a bonfire, you can't. If that shit is burning, you can't be that close to that motherfucker. That shit is hot as fuck. Sometimes you gotta step the fuck back. The heat off it is. I've seen tractor trailers burning, and blocks away, you feel the heat from that shit, and you gotta back up like, yo, this is really hot. How he was able to be right next to Dragon Fire while it burned the Iron Throne and didn't burn his flesh off his face is disgusting.
Joe, it's plot. I just called you Joe. Plot armor, Tony. It's plot armor.
Yeah. Like I mean, the scene in Winterfell for episode 3. The rock, I guess, or stone that was blocking him from the Sirion's flame. Same thing.
You can't do it. It's not conceivable. You know what I mean? And the way they made Dragonfire to me, I didn't like the way they did that. I'm got to get in a rant, but Dragonfire to me is like it's not like a fucking match lighting you and you're like, if Dragonfire hits you, you ash. That's the way it's supposed to be. Ash. The done deal. There's no putting it out. There's no rolling. I learned stop, drop, and roll when I was in elementary school, right? It went around.
Yes,
stop, drop, and roll. That's the era I'm from. Fuck y'all if y'all think y'all. But that's what we learned in school.
Well, you definitely mean stop, drop, and roll. You
stop, drop, and you roll. There's no stop, drop, and rolling from a dragon. All right? That's not the way it's supposed to be. And that's what they tried to give us, those damn stop, drop, and roll tactics. Right? It's not supposed to be like that with Dragonfire. That is what it is and stuff like that. So, all right, we will be back. We will continue this. I would love to just take. All right. In fact, I always do this at the end, so let's do it. I don't want to say. We got 10. We'll do 10 minutes right now. If any questions, y'all have any questions about any topic or anything, we'll do that real quick, and then we'll call it a day because I want to keep it to 2 hours, a little bit over right now, and everything else. So, any questions you have 10 minutes to ask. Smoke screen. Fill the issues, guys. The Don Tony Teflon right now. Let's go through it right now. Kelly Johnson says, the Ragnar had water magic to counter the Ragnar. I think you're saying to counter dragon. They did.
Like Pokemon, like the water.
And they still
Gyarados versus a Charizard.
And they still lost in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
They had all that shit. They still got their asses kicked. So in the end, but it is what it is and everything. Robert Smiley said, my my opinion, you can have yours. So listen, that's what it's all about and everything else like that. Angie wants to know, Smoke. Oh, tell us where we can get the signed copy. Smoke, let them know where you get the signed copy.
Oh, Angie, thank you. I haven't set that up on the website yet, but just send me an email or shoot me a DM on something or whatever, and we'll figure it out. I'll get it set up on the website to order signed copies. I've had a few people ask, but I never set that up properly.
All right.
So yeah, shoot me an email or a message or something like that. All that stuff's in any video description. You can reach me.
Phil, how is the new house?
Oh, it's good. First month moving, it's still it comes in cycles. You know, you unpack all your crap, and then I've stopped for 2 weeks for some reason. I still have boxes unpacked. I've decided, I'm gonna move all those boxes to a room in the corner so I don't have to look at them. I'm gonna wait a couple months to unpack more, but it's good. Moving 3 times in 3 years sucks, but hopefully I'm settled into this place for a while, so it's going pretty well so far.
All right, we're gonna go through this. Jenna S says, "What animal do you think you could take in a fight?" Obviously, I can beat up a kangaroo. Everyone knows
Tony,
that.
Kangaroo would mess you up.
No, Phil, you're supposed to have my back.
Oh yeah. You destroy a kangaroo.
I'll fuck a kangaroo up. Everyone knows that.
It depends the kangaroo.
Well, it depends on the size. Is it a 6'5" kangaroo or is it a 4'4" kangaroo?
Exactly. What's the weight class of the kangaroo?
Bring the kangaroo to me. I'll show you what the fuck I do to the kangaroo. All right.
What animal do I think I could take in a fight? Not many. What an ant maybe? I don't know. I get scared. Yeah. I don't think I could take a house cat. A house cat has definitely taken me down by coming at my ankles. And
Moose saying we'll stand this at the iron throwing the books. It's hard to see it. I think he will at one point. It's hard. I can make a scenario where he does, but I could also make a scenario where he stays back in Winterfell and the White Walkers actually win that battle and he dies in Winterfell. So I can make a scenario for both. So what do you think, Smoke? We'll stand this at the iron throwing in the books.
I don't think you will. I don't think it'll be that much different from the show in the sense of, he gets beat at Blackwater and he can never really recover from that. I think you're right. Winterfell's probably his last stop.
All right. People want to know Phil. They said, Phil, who's your favorite character?
Oh, I have to only pick one. I guess if I have to pick one, it's Homelander. I like that take on the Bizarro Superman kind of thing, but I like everyone. I really like the Deep. Being someone that actually watched Gossip Girl, and the actor that played it was not very great on Gossip Girl playing Nate, but seeing him play the character of the Deep, that messed up version of Aquaman, and the funny things that they do with him. I think one of the best aspects of that show is all the casting, and I think most of the casting works extremely well in each role. But if I have to pick one, it's the Homelander. That's just a very unique character, very different than other takes on evil Superman. But the take on it through that is one of the most unstable characters I've ever seen on TV. And I'm very much looking forward to season 3 and seeing where they go with the series of The Boys.
You watch The Boys, Smoke?
I do. I watched it late. I was late, but I'm caught up now. So I agree. So far, I would say Homelander. I'm definitely looking forward to season 3. I've always loved the kind of the takes on superheroes, like the more realistic version. Not that it would be this bad.
Smoke, have you watched Invincible yet?
I have not.
Check that out. I'm not going to say anything more about it, but it's also on Amazon. It's animated, animated series, but definitely
Invincible was great.
Definitely check out the first season of Invincible. Watch the first episode all the way through without researching it at all. In fact, look at the chat.
I'm just writing myself a note here. All right.
Yeah, watch the first
Invincible is the shit. Listen, if you like
halfway through the first episode, you're like,
Invincible. You have to watch Invincible. What I was showing that. I will say that this real quick. I don't think they really make any other character in that show, and this is a problem with the show.
Are the boys, you mean?
Likeable, then like not likable, but that you want to wind up about then Homelander. I don't think Mother's Milk. Am I gonna really like Mother's Milk?
Basher maybe. Like he's the other one that
there's really no one
he's
there
to
really say who's your favorite character. There's no one like put in that position but Homelander.
Right, that's true. That is true.
You know what I mean? Like they push it towards him. You know what I mean? And I think that may be a little bit that they could work on, if anything else like that.
They try to with Starlight a bit on the other side, kind of the polar opposite of Homelander, but but it's not quite.
She's an okay character, but she can't carry scenes like
no.
in a certain scene when he's dealing with a shapeshifter. I don't need to talk much about that, but it's a season 2 scene where he's dealing with a shapeshifter, and it's really amazing. Everything he does in a scene with Elizabeth Shue is really incredibly awesome. I'll never look at Milk the same way again.
No, I put my tongue in milk like that too.
Especially for Elizabeth Shue. Elizabeth Shue.
Moose Bolton says, would Roos kill Ramsey? I mean, listen, this is another dumb situation. We're going to talk about this in the next episode. We'll talk about, but I will say this. Listen, all of a sudden, Ramsey puts a knife in his back like Braun. He never had that the whole motherfucking season, any episode ever. It's so obvious that he was going to use that knife and that to kill Roos. That it's just dumb that they set it up like that. You know, why put the knife right there in his back? Everyone's seen that coming. He's never had.
I love how all Roos's men's are okay with it too. They're just like, yeah, sure.
Oh, you killed your father. Oh, we're cool with that. We're cool. When you read that Lady Dustin is saying, listen, people are so afraid of Roos, they're not going to rebel against him. There's no way they will allow that. I don't know. Went up to Angelina Ahad, all the way from across the pond, rocking with us. We had 2 people from across the pond rocking with us and everything else. All right, we're going to get out of here. As always, I don't like to keep these to 2 hours or 2 hours and 30 minutes. Before we go, Smoke, let the people know. Thank you for joining us, number one.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. I really promise you I didn't come in to jump in here or whatever, force my way in. But I really appreciate you having me on, man, and appreciate the book club, man.
No doubt about it. What do you have going on in your channel coming up right now?
Right now I am trying to figure out what's going on with House of the Dragon, trying to rekindle all that stuff that I think the same as all of us are. So for sure, House of the Dragon. We got The Witcher coming up. We'll be doing that. I'll be doing some live streams again, obviously, for both of those when they happen. We have I think Book of Boba Fett, so we'll do the Star Wars stuff as well. So trying to mix it up there until we get the House of the Dragon, which will be the main thing, obviously. But definitely looking forward to The Witcher, and we got some damn good movies coming up too. I might actually talk about a lot of Marvel stuff and Matrix, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the Matrix after all these years.
Yeah, yeah, it looks like almost a reboot.
Yeah, it looks like more of a reboot. Interesting situation with if they it almost from the trailer looks like they're taking a more comedic tone with it, and if they do it that way, I think it might be more interesting than if they try to do it a little bit too serious. I think one of the reasons why with all these remakes, 21 Jump Street worked the best is because it was funny. So maybe if they take a slightly more serious, but a slightly more comedic tone. That being said, I don't want to see a 1-for-1 remake. I hope they do some different things with it.
No doubt about it. Phil.
Yes.
No.
Coming up next, Joe and I are going to be doing something we teased on our last live stream, just talking about random sitcoms, going through like the top sitcom list of all time and talking about our opinions on all of those. I feel like sitcoms and reality shows are like junk food. Everyone has a certain one that they like and what other people like, and you don't like it. It's like, it's gross. That stinks. But, I like SpaghettiOs. But, SpaghettiOs are gross. I like beefaroni. Like whatever your frozen food
Beefaroni is better than SpaghettiOs.
Well, whatever. No, you're wrong. SpaghettiOs is better.
Sure.
I'll tell you.
No doubt about it.
SpaghettiOs all the way.
No.
I'm all Franco-American. But whatever. My point is everyone has their own unique one. Sitcoms are like that. So we're going to be talking about some of our favorite sitcoms and crap like that coming up soon. So.
And listen, we got to really do the Golden Girls shit. Let's stop fucking around with that. We really got to get that.
Let's get into it. Like do a full-on Golden Girls thing breakdown.
No doubt about it. All right. And as Teflon TV goes, you know how we do. I'll be back. We're here every Wednesday. So make sure you subscribe doing A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones, What If. We will have, and I'm not playing with y'all, the whole Direwolf City podcast here next week.
All of them? They're all coming?
They're all coming, man.
Nice.
It's going down with them. It's all coming. They're all coming. And we're going to be talking about what if Robert Baratheon survived. They're all going to be here. Every one of them. Direwolf City. I ain't playing with them. No
he kills that.
Watching in the background. I ain't playing with y'all no more. All right, y'all going to be on here next week. We'll have them all on here. I'm going to have Bridge 4 on here too. We'll have the whole everybody.
That's about 60%. Well, let's not.
Coming too. I'm not playing. I'm not playing anymore.
Let's give Bridge about 60-40.
And we're gonna, and I'm talking to Bridge right now. We might do a whole Usual Suspects Succession podcast too. All right, so we might be running that show. So we'll see what it is. But thank you for everyone who super chatted. Thank you for the people who just came. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so you can get notified for everything. If you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm. And as always, subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.